Astrology.
Astrology? Yeah, is that what we're going with, astrology?
The sun's a star.
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret.
There you go, kids. You don't need to go to school today. Patrick Perret has already given you some information. Tell your parents you're just going to stay home. If you caught that, the sun is a star. We are all over it this morning.
And Jen Jensen.
I can't even. I mean,
on your home of the Gamecocks.
I don't know. I'm just everything's going wrong, and I don't know what to do. I don't know, but I might go back to me.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome in a Wednesday morning, April the 13th. A lot to do today. We'll celebrate the Women's National Championship later today, 6 p.m., a parade on Main Street. You can get on downtown for that. We'll remind you about that throughout the morning. We'll get into some spring football quotes from one Shane Beamer meeting with the media for a final time before the spring game, 7 o'clock on Saturday night, and some interesting things that he had to say as it pertains to how they'll do the spring game, some injuries, some kind of final thoughts from him heading into his second spring game of the season. And we'll play some audio as it pertains to the football team and what he had to say to kind of give you an idea of where things stand. A very quiet spring practice, Patrick. We talked the most football we have talked all spring yesterday, and we'll do that again today. We'll get into some NFL draft discussion again with Patrick as the countdown is on. We are now 15 days away. How you feeling over there?
2 weeks from tomorrow, yeah. I'm pumped up. I miss the all-day draft, though.
You talking about on the Saturday when it would just start, and now it's a 3-day event?
Back to back.
Yeah, I can see where you would. I can see where after 4 rounds, you'd be fully coffeeed up. You'd be fully invested, getting lathered up for round 4. You know, everybody else would be moving on to an afternoon lunch or dinner or beverages or something, and you would just be.
The NFL is so smart, though, the way they do it, because now they'll own Thursday night. They'll own Friday night. After Thursday night, we'll just spend the whole day on Friday breaking down the first round. After Friday, we'll spend Saturday morning breaking down the second and third rounds, and then it'll be the rest of the draft. So just gives you more time to break down individual things. Instead of the draft is on Saturday and Monday, we break down the whole draft. We get to do it bit by bit and just extend the NFL talk. So I'm all aboard that, but it was fun to just sit down for 8 hours and watch nothing but NFL draft.
Okay. So we have that. Yep. We'll get into NFL draft. Again, we'll get into some spring football. We'll get back into a little bit of men's basketball. A few more names, Patrick, popping out yesterday as it pertains to South Carolina and maybe their pursuit of increasing the roster size as it pertains to the 2022-2023 season. So we'll get into that.
Pursuit of increasing the roster size, so they might fail. It might just be a 7-man team.
I mean, for all I know, Lamont Paris could be knocking at our window within the next 3 or 4 months going, hey, what's your eligibility status?
I'd almost respect if he said, you know what? We're not going to offer guys that aren't good enough to play here. We'll just play with 7.
We'll just go with 7.
Yeah.
If he just says, I did it with a student manager once, I'll do it again. Yeah. So we will talk a little bit about that. Last night, South Carolina knocks off North Florida 4-2 over at Founders Park to get back to 500 on the season. And it is Cam Tringali picking up the victory. Matthew Becker picking up the save. The Gamecocks actually had to rally in this one. They were down. The game was tied 2-2 in the 6th when they were able to put up a run to make it 3-2. They put up another in the 7th to make it 4-2, and they go on to win the ball game against North Florida last night. So they moved to 16-16 on the season. Mississippi rolls into town tomorrow for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series that will be culminated on Saturday with the big Gamecock weekend that will be everything going on, including the Cocky Trot 5K fun run and walk. So a lot for us to get to, but we would be remiss if we did not start this morning with a protest that you probably did not see in Minnesota. Jen, I watched the basketball game. Now I was a little behind on what the information I have just acquired within the last I would say 10 to 15 minutes. It was a late night game, Minnesota and Los Angeles. The NBA has gone into play-in game status. So they are in the playoffs basically. It's the NBA, for those of you who have really checked out. They're doing one game play-in scenarios where teams can advance and get themselves officially into the playoffs. Last night you had the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets won, so now they're the 7 seed, I believe. They'll be playing the Boston Celtics in the actual playoffs. And then you had the night game, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves. I didn't even know this shows how much I've paid attention. Didn't even know the Timberwolves had gotten themselves back into playoff contention, and they were taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jen, you've probably seen a protest or two in your lifetime. Have you ever seen anyone try to glue themselves to the floor of a basketball arena?
No.
Then you should probably rewatch a little bit of last night.
I would try to glue somebody else, but not myself.
Patrick has been really paying attention to this story this morning of a young lady who disrupted the Timberwolves game, super gluing herself to the court after yesterday's investigation exposed the team owner, the Minnesota Timberwolves team owner, Glenn Taylor's factory farm, brutally killing 5 million birds via ventilation shutdown. So there is some actual real life story behind.
I think bird flu broke out in his egg factory.
Okay. Yeah. Something. Do you have the full? There is some actual real storyline behind this, but the tragic part is a fainting woman who decided to try and super glue herself to the floor.
It was not super glue. That was Elmer's glue. I saw her and she was trying to push it down. It was actually hilarious. They're trying to lift her off the floor and she's just sticking her hand on the floor like, no, I'm stuck. You can't move me. And they just pull her arm up and it's just a little pile of, looks like Elmer's glue laying on the court.
Wow.
It was a great protest.
Okay, I have to go watch that.
They really didn't show it on the
Why?
broadcast though.
No, they won't show stuff. Obviously
They didn't know what it was at first.
Streaking man or a woman or whatever it is now in sports that wants
They
to.
don't give them the attention.
Right. Wants to.
get
Well,
it.
I don't think they knew what happened because I listened to the broadcast and Kevin Harlan's like, "Oh, a woman has fallen on the court. Like she fell on her ankle or something." They didn't actually know what happened. And then a couple minutes later, like, "Oh no, she's protesting." Okay.
And that's where she chose to do that because
glued-
that's the most effective. Like
Yeah.
what?
It's
I
Don't
read
eat
the press
chicken.
release from the animal. It's Direct Action Everywhere was responsible for this protest.
okay. Is that it?
Clearly, their marketing efforts need a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah. It's kind of an entertaining.
Where's
little.
where's the 5K taking place? Is it Gamecock Park? Is it ending at Gamecock Park?
It is the 5K. As you're switching topics on me.
Well, because I think I'm going to glue myself to the finish line in protest of
people.
pigeonholing running into great events and holidays.
Yeah, go right ahead. Well, the where does it begin? It begins in Gamecock Village. It will be located in quad 2 and 4 in Gamecock Village off National Guard Road. So really, you could I think you could glue yourself to a cockaboose as people run by.
I'll glue myself
Oh.
to the little stage that we use for pregame.
That
But
you
see,
can also do that.
I don't like pain that much. So, think of the big picture, chick. If
Your
you-
hand's going to rip off. All the skin on your hand is going to rip off.
Right. There is no uncomfortable way to solve that if you're using anything but Elmer's glue.
Is there an effective way to protest at a sporting event? I don't really know.
That's a great question.
How many streakers have you seen in your time at Williams-Brice?
But
Streakers?
Yeah, have you ever seen a full-on streaker? I've
That's a
seen people
great
run.
que-
I've seen people run across the field.
Mhm.
I've never seen a streaker.
Jen, have you ever been at a game where I'm with Patrick on this. I've seen people run across the field.
yeah, no.
I
Not
saw-
in person.
Yeah, I think we've seen people run across the field at Williams-Brice Stadium. Obviously, we've seen some field stormings post-game, big victories. I've seen that at Colonial Life Arena. Patrick, I think you're right. I don't think I've ever been at a game where I saw a streaker.
I would love if someone called in with a great streaker story.
803-404-6100. Do you have a good streaker story from being at the game? Being actually at the game? Because that
Not
is a
seeing it on TV. But again, how are they getting their point across? Like, because if they're running quickly or if they're running without wearing anything, where is the message?
it's normally
I've,
written on the body.
Yeah, They do paint. They paint their body. I remember.
Normally you've got a message on your body. Now there appears to be, little fault to the fact that the body is hard to read at times. Like, there's curvatures and
Well, and
most
again,
people are
you
not
can't.
most people that are streaking are not in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. So maybe
they're
they
not
have a little
coming
more
straight from the
billboard.
underwear model shoot to streak whatever sporting event. I do feel like streaking is more also of a European soccer thing.
I was just gonna say because I
Mm.
remember a Champions League match where it turns out it was a Russian model streaked on the field in a one piece, and it was a prank, and her thing was advertising some guy's YouTube channel. I think
Oh wow.
apparently
Roos-
effective.
Rooster P, our one of our favorite listeners in Chicago this morning, says he misses the occasional streaker. Is that something that needs to be brought back in sports?
Well,
No.
put it on the camera too.
Most
Stop
people,
discouraging
most
it.
streakers too are in it for themselves. They're not in it for a protest.
Well, no,
The
that's the
streaker,
whole
I don't
thing.
think, is protesting.
Because if they're running quickly or even slowly, you only have so much landscape on which you can write your message. So the letters have to be big
That's
enough.
what I'm
You
saying,
can't
yeah.
say much.
The-
Yeah.
The understanding of the human body, if you're trying to streak and get a message out, seems to be forgotten.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of work into that. You got to somebody else has got to be a part of it to write the message, and then if you mess up,
You're also kind of just banking on pictures of it going viral at
Pretty
this
much,
point,
yeah.
because people aren't going to see it in the moment. No one
No.
in the bleachers is going to read what you wrote.
yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard enough.
I don't know
to-
if I'll ever see a streaker though in my life. I recall one time at an Orioles game a fan running on the field. I've
but-
never
but a,
seen
but
it
a fan
again.
running on the field, not a streaker.
Yeah, fully
total
clothed.
difference.
Mhm.
It
Total
takes a
difference.
Little
whole nother
different.
set of balls and comfortability. Like you can't be self conscious to go fully nude and running across the field.
I don't know. I feel like
you gotta be confident.
I feel like that. Yeah, that's. I think what Patrick's pointing out this morning, the protest or the. I don't know if it's a protest or just a protest of I had too many beverages
Mhm.
before I arrived
Yeah.
at the stadium.
Mhm.
It's more of a protest of my friends allowed me to get this way. But I think Patrick may be onto something. Is the days of the streaker behind us? Is it did George was it George Costanza who went bodysuit man? Remember the
Mhm.
Seinfeld?
Mhm.
He went
Kirby mentioned that on the live stream.
bodysuit man.
Yeah.
Like, are the days of the streaker behind us? Is it now just if you're going to run on the field, you're going to be clothed?
Yeah, if you run on the field, you're getting arrested for I don't know what the charge is, but problem is if you're also naked, you're gonna get indecent exposure, and
And
there's
just think how-
minors in the crowd, so that could open up a whole nother can of worms for you legally.
And again, think how uncomfortable getting in and out of the police car because probably their vinyl seats. That
Yeah.
just there's a
Your
whole
chances
other
of
level
escape are gonna probably be
comfort.
better though, because they won't want to touch you.
I would assume that there is as a police officer, it's 50-50. I feel like mace is generally involved to get them on the floor, and then it's just a bad situation.
Yeah, they're gloving up when they see this guy start running. Man, it's like nope, putting those on.
This also reminds me of the Super Bowl. There was a Super Bowl, I think, a couple years ago where there's a prop. Will there be a fan on the field? And some guy put all of the maxed out on
in
it,
Vegas, this
and
was
then
2
ran on the
years
field.
ago,
And then he
3
ran on
years
the
ago.
field and
Yeah.
made money.
Yeah, that was, and I think didn't they take away his money or did
I
the
can't.
casino or
I can't remember. I thought the casino did end up canceling his wager, but I remember that story.
yeah. That's where we start. There is other stuff we'll actually get into
What?
this morning.
This isn't going to take 3 hours.
Surprisingly not. No, much like a streaker trying to run across the field, it is a very quick, to the point conversation. The question is has one of the streakers ever gotten away?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I mean, you got to be. Is there a level of practice that you do?
I wonder if you have to be almost like oil yourself down so you're kind of like a greased pig where nobody can get a hold of you. They
And
can't.
I feel like your best chances in baseball because they have the short walls.
Oh, there you go.
That if you can get, but then you
You're
got to get
climbing
back up
into-
the stairs.
Climbing into the bleachers is tough.
You got to once you get into the stairs,
You
there's
know,
a
at
lot of
Williams-
hands and people that are ready to
At Williams Bryce though,
take you down in
Grease
any
you
kind
up.
of sort of way.
at Williams Bryce though, if you jump from I don't know which is north and south, but the opposite side of the student section, and you can make it across, and you run up through the student section, I feel like they would provide safe haven for
You've got to get it is the
the student
closest.
section is the way to go. They can close that thing off for you.
It is now that they've
Mhm.
built the club level seating below the zone and the area where South Carolina, you can't just run through the tunnel and get to the back entrance.
Well, that was part of I did understand that when they were working on those plans, they did have a section in there that said, "And how do we make this streaker proof?"
Oh.
So that was part of the construction
Thinking
plan.
everything.
Bill's
What?
looking at me like, "Are you serious?"
803-404-6100.
It sounds like if you want to do it, you need to kind of Ocean's 11 the situation and really break out the floor plan and everything. But
You
there's
gotta
so many
really-
moving pieces. All you need is one.
You need a getaway car.
Yeah, but all it takes is one guy in the crowd. Once you jump back in the bleachers, that
that's
wants
what
to
I'm
be a
saying.
hero and trips you. And
You need
vigilantes everywhere.
you
at
need
these
2 or
games.
3 accomplices to help you out on there. That was entertaining last night. It didn't involve streaking. It was Glue Girl. You can check it out on Twitter or just Google it this morning. The young lady who apparently thought that she would make a point by trying to glue herself to the Minnesota Timberwolves floor last night. She got what she wanted. It's 6.
Clippers fans are
But
upset
we
that it
haven't-
was a momentum change
it's-
for
We
them.
haven't mentioned her name though,
I haven't seen it.
I don't know her
So-
name.
so
Uh,
she's not really getting what she wants.
I read the
Uh,
press release.
I'm sure by now I'm sure it's out there. But yeah, it's certainly a funny story from last night. But 803-404-6100.
Oh, Alicia Santorio.
Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure that somebody out there has gotten her name by now. So probably spent a nice night as well in the Minnesota County lockup. 803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning if you want to be a part of the program. Again, South Carolina wins last night 4-2 over North Florida. They'll gear up for Mississippi this coming weekend. D1 baseball, again, there's a million polls. You've heard me talk about it. D1 baseball is the poll that I always elect to use. They put out their new polls yesterday, getting ready for the weekend, and I'll get you those, and we'll kind of break that down. Tennessee last night, I didn't know they do this. Did you see this? Tennessee lost last night to, I believe, Tennessee Tech, and they played a wooden bat game. They lost 3-2.
I didn't know they played him in the regular season.
And the reason it was interesting was on my Twitter is because what happened. You guys saw what happened against Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago, probably about 2 weeks ago with Tennessee, who appears to be far and away the number one team in the country, not even close. And they hit a home run on a Friday night against Vanderbilt, which it has now become the best rivalry in baseball. Those two programs absolutely despise each other, like really, really hate each other. And Tennessee hit a home run, and the sticker that inspects the bats, or the umpire, who puts the sticker, or the bat inspection people who inspect the bats before the game, did not inspect that one bat, and it had a sticker from the midweek game, so the player was ruled out. So last night, jokes were going around about Tennessee's use of an illegal bat and losing. And because I'm still trying to learn a little bit about this. If this is like an agreement, maybe someone who's far more educated in the world of college baseball and why they do this, but they played a wood bat game last night, and Tennessee lost to Tennessee Tech 3-2. I think it was 3-2 is what I saw.
Is Tennessee Tech any good, or have they just been practicing with wooden bats all season?
They were ready for this one. Yeah. It was last night. Again, I'm not real sure. There was a 23-game winning streak that was blown for Tennessee, as again they played a wood bat game. And I've been trying to get more information on this, like if this is something that colleges occasionally do, if the game actually counts in the rankings. It's very interesting. But going back to it, this was the article that I read from yesterday, kind of previewing the game. It said the Vols would be using wood bats when they face Tennessee Tech Tuesday night at Smoky Stadium. They were playing it at the AAA home of the Tennessee Smokies, which is Jen's Cubs affiliate. It's the first time in recent memory that wood bats have been used by two college teams. Thought that was just kind of interesting last night across college baseball that you'd get a wood bat game. And again, I guess it counted
Yeah, that's weird that it would count in the schedule, because you hear about there's wood bat leagues in the summertime, or not in the summertime, I guess just in the off season. And growing up, I club or whatever, travel baseball, there will be wood bat tournaments and stuff that you hear about, but I've never heard about it in a game that counts in college baseball.
Yeah, I just interesting last night. Tennessee going into last night was 31-1 on the season. They were one game shy of tying Texas Tech's SEC record for most consecutive victories. Kind of interesting last night that just that's what exactly took place there in that. But Mississippi coming into town this coming weekend to take on South Carolina, and the Rebels had dropped all the way to number 25, Patrick, in the D1 baseball poll. They were a
They're
top
0
10
4
team
week.
last
That'll
week.
do it.
It's kind of interesting. Vanderbilt, who remember was number 4 when South Carolina beat them, Vanderbilt now out of the polls, completely out of the polls. So, in North Carolina also dropping out. So, some of those wins South Carolina had maybe not quite as good looking. Texas, who we thought was such a great team, number 1 when they came in, is down to number 7 in the most recent D1 baseball poll. So, a lot there from baseball. Again, we'll get into some Shane Beamer audio, get you ready for the spring game this coming Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium. We'll get into some other stuff as well, maybe back into the streaker discussion because, I think you're right. I think the days of the streaker are long gone. I think if you run out and, as Matt points out, there is some serious legal risk you now take upon yourself if you're going to go streaking at a sporting event.
I mean, Will said it's what maybe a good streaking is what the baseball team needs to get people interested again. If your team's losing, that's what you need. Fire the boys up.
In the past, they have brought on a fish. They've done a weird bat seance. I believe they had a battle axe at one time.
Yeah.
Maybe one of you out there is willing to try and help the baseball team. We might have a caller on the line who's willing to hop on his scooter and streak across the field. It'd be hard to. I mean, you'd have to have a real accomplice back there to open up the back gate and allow him to go out.
Is Root Hog a true friend?
Yeah, that's a good point. Is Root Hog willing to help Gamecock Larry? We'll find out. We'll get into a bunch of stuff this morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Extra Point, plenty more Carolina football as we get closer and closer to the Garnet and Black spring game. We'll focus on the defensive side of the ball. Which defensive players are you most excited to see in person this spring? Plus, what did Shane Beamer say yesterday? And plenty of reaction and analysis to South Carolina's midweek.
Oh, did you see Richard's text? Now we know what he looks like. I guess he's got a couple sons that are good football players. I see Georgia Southern in the picture. I like putting a face to the name.
Oh boy! All right, go back to Ansley being awake at 6 o'clock is concerning and wanting to fix eggs for her and her brother. Now I'm kind of concerned about my house. The almost 13-year-old trying to make eggs. Seems like at first I think it's a good idea, but now I just realize nobody's around to like.
I mean, just tell her to spray the pan. What is the worst? I don't know. I guess the worst case is always burning the house down with cooking, but eggs are pretty.
Well, it's more of like catching a rat, like leaving a rag on the thing or burning herself.
I'd be more concerned about bacon.
Yeah, she's not doing bacon. I'm with you on that. I'll just tell her if possible. Wait until closer to 9.
But you text her and say, "Can I make eggs?"
Well, I can't believe she's awake at 6:10 in the morning on spring break. But what I may have to do is, even if I do the show, FaceTime her and just be sitting here watching while she's.
I hope so, Larry, but I don't know. It's being investigated. Larry asked, "Is it true the Commanders are in trouble for ticket sales?" Dan Snyder has been accused of lying about their ticket sales and underreporting ticket sales and pocketing extra money.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's not hard to find another owner, Larry. It's pretty easy to find someone to buy a football team in the nation's capital, but getting rid of the current one, that is the problem. The Nats owners are about to sell the team.
My 12-year-old's having quite a life. I said, I think we have eggs. She said, I'll check in a bit. I'm still not out of bed. I'm just planning my day. So spring break, it starts with planning, having a plan to make some eggs.
It doesn't even register with me all the time, Kyle, honestly. And yeah, I don't know what it's going to take to get rid of him, but at this point I'm done hoping. I'll be thrilled if it happens, but I'm not going to expect it.
And the other child now is telling me, hey, Dad, I'm up. 6:33 on a Wednesday morning, April the 13th. Hope you're doing well up and at 'em. Yeah, the first segment got a little off topic there.
It'll be on the podcast page soon.
That'll be good. You can go back and
On the
hear that.
podcast. Yep.
Anything you've missed, you can always go back. Jen's done a great job of getting us set up on Spotify where you can go and search the early game 107.5 and find us there on Spotify. Is that right?
Yeah, the early game pod,
The early game
technically.
pod. And then that way you can download any segment or interview you've missed and hear it. For example, in the last segment, we discussed a lot about streaking. Why? Because last night there was a girl who tried to protest in Minnesota, took a unique approach. It actually had nothing to do with streaking. It was just a unique approach, but it led us to ask the question, do people streak anymore? Does that happen?
I've never seen it. I can't even recall the last time it happened. Because I would think you would see it on Twitter even.
It's true.
But I'm still waiting for someone to call or text with an actual time that they saw a real streaker.
Well, I'm with you. I think it tends to be more international type things, like
They're freer
soccer.
people. They're
Yeah.
free with their bodies.
And if it was
overseas.
done like in things in like the 60s, and maybe early 70s when there's protests, we may not have as many of those people calling.
It's true. Yeah,
know,
they may still
listening.
be there may still be warrants out for their
There you
their
go.
arrest. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's from
Has
the 60s or the
anybody-
70s. 60 years later, 50 years later, people are still keeping their identity concealed there on who may have streaked across a like a Chicago White Sox game or
Yeah.
a
I
Atlanta
don't know
Braves game.
the statute of limitations as to when they'd actually be clear of those charges. But, I guess the really fun thing would be, has anybody that listens to the show, have they actually been streakers?
There you go. See, I've never streaked, but I have been a part of a streaking. When we were in college,
Mhm.
there was a Waffle House, as college kids tend to do, stupid stuff.
Streaking to Waffle House.
No,
I wouldn't streak in at those.
so we had a
attendance seats.
we had a buddy who apparently that was his thing.
Oh.
In defense, he was a Tennessee fan.
Oh,
Made a little
explains
bit more
lot.
sense.
Yeah.
But he liked to streak. That was his thing. And so one night after a glorious night, a Monday night probably, in 5 Points, we went to the Waffle House down off of Charleston Highway, going back toward 26. And the house that I had with a bunch of my roommates was not far from the Waffle House. It was about a mile, maybe less, not far, not ridiculously
Good
far
streaking
away.
distance.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not too far. And so we're all sitting there and enjoying our hash browns and eggs and everything, ready to call it a night. And our buddy just gets this plan, decided, he said, I'm going to streak out of the Waffle House. It was a decent crowd. It probably was a Thursday or Friday night. It was a decent crowd in there. It was about 2 a.m. And so as he goes to the bathroom to remove the clothes,
Mhm.
one of my other roommates gets up and goes and terrifies all the patrons by locking the door, which not the smartest. There wasn't a whole lot of thought that was put into this process because people see my other roommate and
Locking the door, that's a little
the,
scary.
the one that's locking the door has to like, don't worry, it's a part of a joke. We're not here to rob you. Everything's good. So sure enough, the streaker, burst out of the bathroom, yells, "We're streaking," turns the corner to
Boom.
hit the door, and yes, smacks the door full on.
He's lucky it didn't break.
Just hits the door as hard as he can. Door obviously doesn't move. He falls backwards, is completely spread eagle on the floor, dazed and confused for about 7 seconds before getting up, hitting the door again, realizing that there's now a problem with the door, shaking the door violently, then turning and going, "Please, someone open the door for me."
Because he couldn't figure it out.
He
I
ca-
guess
well,
he
I
could just
mean, you're in a
close-
panic. You're trying to.
Yeah.
The quick getaway is the key to streaking, as
Yeah, I
Patrick was
suppose.
pointing out.
Yeah.
And thought process has kind of gone out the door when you get to the streaking part of it, just the general thought process. But we opened the door and he just jogged on out. We paid our tab.
Mhm.
Somebody went down and scooped him up a few miles or, a little ways down from the house, and we got him home. But that was
I found a video of I Googled streakers getting away, and I was actually a little bit worried that my account was going to get blocked. I don't know what kind of,
seems totally fair.
but it's not. They're the only person I see escaping. There's actually a really smart video of a Astros fan. Clearly had it planned out because there's a little hill in center field,
Uh-huh.
and he runs up the hill, climbs up the wall, and then there's a random little patch of grass above what I guess is the center field stands, and he jumps up and climbs up and then jumps over another ledge and is into the concourses. And he had it clearly planned out, like stop 1, stop 2, step 3, bang, 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 and got out.
Been to multiple Astros
Really
games
smart.
and
I
really
mean-
scouted this thing out.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a minute long. It's within 20 seconds he's on the field and onto the on the field, off the field, onto the concourse and free. So it's really, you can plan it out and probably figure this out. But again, he's fully clothed. It's not a streaker. I don't think they know what streaker means.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, totally different. 803-404-6100. Yesterday, Shane Beamer talked about South Carolina
He didn't
football.
talk about streaking.
He did not. Not to my knowledge. I did not catch that in any of the interview. He did talk about the spring game. Let's let you listen to a little bit of Shane Beamer yesterday addressing the media, getting you ready for Saturday night spring game, 7 o'clock at Williams-Brice Stadium.
Again, like Steve said, last one. It's hard to believe we're in our last week of spring practice and just finished practice number 13. It's flown by, but really proud of our guys and the way they've worked this spring as well. Looking forward to this weekend. Before we get going on that, just from going back to last Saturday, our second scrimmage, was really pleased with that. I thought it was much better on both sides of the ball, all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. We talked last week, way too many turnovers on offense. They cut that to 1 on Saturday in the scrimmage, no fumbles, 1 interception on a play that Donovan Westmoreland, our freshman linebacker, made a heck of a break on a quick game throw. But only 1 turnover. Thought it was really competitive. Everything that we, talk about as a program. We talked about wanting to see physicality, effort, competitive plays, toughness, and saw all that, like the group, and so was pleased with the way things went on Saturday. Both sides as well. The offense got off to a great start in the scrimmage on Saturday, and then defense kind of turned it around and then got some good 2-minute work at the end of the scrimmage as well. Today was another great day. Great spirit again. We can't think back, or thinking back throughout the spring, can't think back to one practice where it wasn't. I love this group. I love the way they work. I love the way they compete and the effort they play with. Today was practice 13. Really emphasized all of our situational stuff again today, since it's our last day in pads until the spring game. 2-point plays was the emphasis, or the situation that we did today. You guys that were out there at the beginning of practice saw that. It was a 2-point play competition, and it was a dominating performance by the defense. I think they went 7-0. It was a best out of 7. So obviously not the start we wanted to get off to offensively, but proud of the offense. What you guys didn't see was the rest of the practice. We did some third down work. We did some red zone work. We did some first and second down work. And then we finished with a 2-minute drill at the end of practice, where the offense needed a touchdown to win. And the first offense went out there, scored a touchdown on a walk-off touchdown pass to, I believe it was Trey Atkins. And then the second time was Luke Doty at quarterback. And there were some questionable calls by the head official, being me, whether there were sacks or not. So sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was videoing a couple of these plays in question and sending them to the defensive linemen that thought I was cheating them, that they got a sack. It wasn't a sack in my opinion, but ended up being a walk-off touchdown pass from Luke Doty to Omega Blake, or as Pete Lembo calls him, the Alpha and the Omega Blake as well. But it was good to see, in all seriousness, good to see the offense respond and finish. We've been really emphasizing with them finishing practices, finishing scrimmages, 2-minute drills, all that. And they did a good job of that today at the end. So really competitive, spirited practice. Another great day with recruits that were out there as well. It's been pretty awesome through 13 spring practices. I mean, we've had difference makers on our campus for all 13 practices that have been here visiting. A lot of guys are on spring break this week, and it was good to see some difference makers out on the practice field today. We'll have some more on Thursday. And then a lot of guys that'll be here this weekend as well, getting into Saturday or throughout the rest of the week. I know tomorrow's going to be a great day with the parade for Coach Staley and the women's basketball team. Certainly what an awesome opportunity that is for our community to get out and salute them one more time for bringing a national championship, another one back to Columbia. So that'll be fun. And then just really to kick off this weekend, I know there's going to be a ton of amazing athletic events on our campus this weekend. Encourage Gamecock Nation to get out and support all of our teams that'll be out here competing this weekend. DJ Swearinger has his celebrity basketball game on Friday night. And from talking to him, I know he's excited about that and looking forward to seeing him back here this week as well. And then all the former players that'll be here for that game and then the spring game as well. Spring game specifically, we need a great, talked about it last week, need a great crowd out there. We've got an awesome group of recruits that'll be coming. It's a great opportunity to see so many new faces on our football team for the first time, but more importantly, just to, these guys deserve a great crowd out there on Saturday night for the way that they've worked since they came back in January to start the spring semester. And then with what they've done through spring practice as well, I hope we'll have an amazing crowd out there on Saturday night to salute these guys. And there's some great festivities planned and some great things post-game as well. Should be a lot of fun. So hope to see a lot of Gamecock Nation out there on Saturday night because the next time we're in that stadium in front of a crowd like that will be when we're kicking off this season for real. And, I don't want to get on the soapbox, but we're the one sport at any level that doesn't get a preseason game or a scrimmage or an exhibition game, which is dumb, in my opinion. I've been talking about this since I was here as an assistant coach before, that it would make sense to have some sort of preseason game or exhibition game, but we don't. So the more opportunities our players have to play in front of a crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium, the better. So we need it. Our guys got a lot of young players that'll be in that stadium playing in front of a crowd for the first time, and they need all that experience they can get. So encourage the fans to come out, and should be a great night for South Carolina football. The game specifically, it's going to be a true game. We're going to break it up. We're going to break the teams up, and we're going to play it like a game. It's not going to be offense, defense. I know last year, because of our depth, I think we played the first half, and then the second half was just some competitive third down, red zone, goal line things. We're not going to do that. We're going to play 4 quarters. We're going to get some special teams work in there as well. We've been competing on special teams throughout the spring. We have 4. Our team is divided up into 4 teams for special teams, and each team has a captain, and each team has a team name that they came up with. Each team has a theme song that's their team. So they've been competing since day one of spring practice. So we'll have kind of the grand finale of that competition. The street runners, the certified Steppas, which is Coach Stepp's team, the Goon Squad, and members only are the 4 teams. So they'll be competing to be for the ultimate champion on Saturday night in the scrimmage. And then, like I said, it'll be offense, defense, 4 quarters, true team, true game. And then again, we're going to break it up. So it's going to be as even as possible. Offensive starters on both teams, defensive starters on both teams, and let these guys go play. And hope
That's Shane Beamer talking yesterday. That was his opening statement. We'll get to more of what he had to say as we go through the program, some of the questions that he was asked. Patrick, the good thing of that is that you're going to get if you go out Saturday night, you're going to get an actual game. Last year there was a lot of injuries and they weren't able to do it. It was kind of awkward and clumsy. Saturday night, you'll get a game to which to watch.
And I think they needed to make it more fan friendly, and that will be far more fan friendly. Watching an actual football game instead of just one unit going and designed plays against a second unit or designed situations. It'll be fun to watch as well.
803-404-6100. Caroline weighs in on our text line. As a student at South Carolina in 73-74, a friend and I went to the Russell House one evening. Male students were streaking up and down Green Street in the trees, riding bicycles. Streaking was not uncommon.
We need a we're going streaking hotkey from old school. That'd actually be a great hotkey to have.
We'll come back. You can listen to more. We'll carry on, get back into some football discussion, talk a little baseball as well, and get into some NFL discussion. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
On the next halftime show.
Hey guys, Jay and Terry coming up on the Wednesday halftime show. Tommy will break down South Carolina, North Florida baseball, start getting us ready for Mississippi. Our good friend Ryan Brewer, the former Gamecock, will be in studio with us to talk about the spring game.
Pre-summer maintenance. That can be good for a lot of things. Your lawn, your cleaning, all kinds of things. But I'm telling you what, for your air conditioning unit, it is vital. And with AAA Heating and Air, you can get a $49 inspection for a new customer right now, pre-summer maintenance. Trust me when I tell you, you want that heating and air unit working this summer. If you've lived in Columbia, you are well aware of what summer in South Carolina is like. Don't wait for the next 60 days, April and May. AAA Heating and Air will offer you $49 for maintenance. And if you need a brand new unit, they have a pre-summer sale, $1,500 system buyback, instant rebate, 0% interest for 60 months to well-qualified buyers. So AAA Heating and Air, ready to help you prepare for the summer. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. You need to tell them Bill Gunner sent you. That's important. Otherwise, you might not get that deal. Again, $49 for pre-summer maintenance. Or if you need a new heating and air unit, $1,500 system buyback, instant rebate, then 0% interest for 60 months to well-qualified buyers. But if your credit is shot, don't worry. AAA Heating and Air does not want you to be hot this coming summer. They guarantee financing on all new systems. Please call or see the website for details. Again, you can give them a phone call, 803-677-1500. Again, guaranteed financing to all buyers, plus 15-year parts and labor warranty and transparent repair pricing. That's what makes AAA Heating and Air the best. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Yeah, Craig, we both just noticed that I'm going to try and start fitting as well to the ends of my sentence. He just ends sentences with as well. No, not my home. Where are you going? I'm going to Maryland. But I don't have a home there anymore. Sure, yeah. Going to the girlfriend's home? Yeah. Yeah, I might drive by my old house while I'm there.
See how it's looking?
Egg it.
That one.
TP their house.
Just remind them the former owner still has influence.
Yeah. Just let a little bit of air out of their tires. Jump in the pool, maybe. I don't know.
Just get it below 30.
yeah. Just do a couple things. Yeah. Just do a couple things that slightly inconvenience them.
Oh, that been there, done that. Real easy to do.
Yep, I can see you having been there, done that, and slightly inconveniencing people.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know how they're fitting into the neighborhood, because we were the longest tenured residents of that neighborhood.
I feel like you could do that by just making a phone call or two and not necessarily letting air out of their tires or
egging their house.
Yeah.
I'll just ding dong ditch them. That's a classic move. There were a lot of good texts in the last
I just saw this. I saw it last night, but I didn't see the video because of whatever it was. Have you seen Aaron Rodgers throwing the football at the little kid?
Mm-mm.
Oh, this is hilarious. On the pardon my take, he throws an interception to this little kid, and the kid runs it back and hands it to him. And the kid runs by celebrating and just turns and chunks the ball. 803-404-6100. You can be a part of the program this morning. Playing a little Shane Beamer audio. We'll play some more of that in the next hour. We'll get into some spring football discussion. We'll also talk about this video that I just saw on Twitter. Aaron Rodgers throwing an interception in a pickup football game, Patrick, with a bunch of little kids.
It's definitely just a camp.
Like a little camp, and the kid takes the ball back and the kid intercepts Aaron Rodgers, takes it back and hands it to him, and runs past Rodgers celebrating. So Rodgers just turns around and whips the ball at him. If you could intercept any quarterback in the NFL, like in a pickup game, we'll ask that question in the next
Aaron
hour.
Rodgers is like being funny by doing that, right?
Yeah, I think he is being fun.
Because some
I would
people
hope
are
so,
watching
yeah.
it saying, "Wow, he's so mad."
Yeah. Not good. 803-404-6100. Last night, South Carolina knocking off North Florida 4-2. Did not change one man's opinion. Let's get out to Larry. He's not Gamecock Larry anymore when you're acting the way he is. Larry is on the phone. Larry, no opinion change, tough. One game, not changing the opinion with Mississippi coming to town. Yeah.
Gamecock baseball. Go Bill.
All right. Thank you for the phone. Yeah, thank you for the phone call, Larry. Yeah, pitching coach there to continue to work on mechanics, try and develop the pitchers, and certainly call the pitches. Sometimes call the pitches during the game. I don't know. I have not. Different pitchers. Some they will allow to call their own pitches. Most pitching coaches will call the pitches during the game. We'll get back into this Aaron Rodgers video. We'll play some more Shane Beamer audio. Got to get into some NFL draft. Plenty to do. Coming up, 2 more hours. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Van City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because
Sorry, I didn't have Larry punched in.
Kimry just posted a picture of the weight room at his school. I think he's got a better job now than he had.
Well, I mean,
I think he actually does. If I could coach high school lacrosse as my job, that would be the dream job.
Pardon My Take Twitter account posting these little videos of like Timberwolves fans right now, and then Pat Bev to the Clippers, and it's got the bowling guy who's just going nuts and like.
Oh, what's his name? The guy that gets the strike and he goes, "Who do you think you are? I am." Yeah, I love that guy.
It's got hashtag back, and it's got Aaron Rodgers looking at this one girl. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, just make sure you have it. Because, nothing else to talk about.
Here, price of one bottle of Elmer's Glue, all multi-purpose liquid glue on Amazon, $2.64. Capacity of Target Center, 19,356. If each fan were to receive a bottle of glue, it would cost $51,099.84. It's actually a pretty funny. Pardon My Take. You ever
I've listened to the podcast.
on Twitter?
It's the biggest sports podcast in the world.
And I've got to go look at that Aaron Rodgers. Holy cow.
Yeah, Baylor School is ridiculous. Yes, Pete Weber. Who do you think you are? I am. He's hilarious. Was Aaron Rodgers being funny? I can't tell. He threw it pretty hard at the kid.
Listen, I marched in the Greatest Band in Dixie parade with the Camden High School band when I was a teen. And as we were marching through the French Quarter, the band director came alongside the band and said, "Look straight ahead, don't look up."
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perret, and Jen Jensen.
Well, as a 15-year-old, I looked up, and the women along the balcony were exposing themselves. And I want to tell you, it's one of the greatest parades I've ever been in my life, guys.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Let me finish, Bill.
107.5 The Game.
$7:03 on a Wednesday morning, April the 13th. We have covered plenty of topics.
Well, that was a fitting intro to the second hour. The story of the Mardi Gras, the Mardi Gras story.
Was. If you've missed it, we have parlayed last night's fan protest in Minnesota where a young woman tried to glue herself to the basketball court over some animal rights issues that she had taken, or her group had taken some umbrage with. And we kind of parlayed that into, are there streakers in sports anymore? You found a video of a Houston Astros fan who actually, by the way, that's the other part. Fans that can get the getaway, can make the getaway, right? Like, who are you pulling more for in a fan on the field situation? An innocent fan on the field situation before some of you start talking about we don't want them injuring the players. I agree with that. And an innocent fan on the field situation, are you pulling for the security guard, police officer to make the violent tackle and put him down? Or even in some cases, Patrick, we've seen the player take matters into their own hands and just deck,
Was it James Harrison that did that?
Was it James? I was trying to think. There was
I think James Harrison decked a fan one time.
Are you pulling for the violent ending to the own field running, or are you pulling for the person to get away, to be able to elude the security guards? Because the Houston Astros video that you showed is actually pretty entertaining. There's a fan who runs onto the field at an Astros game, makes it out to center field. He's being chased by a few security guards who clearly are not athletically inclined to handle the situation. This was not a streaker, but this person in the video that you found is able to scale the center field wall, which leaves two security guards befuddled and just standing there at the wall like they're not allowed to jump it. He then goes and jumps a second wall, which puts him on like a little grassy terrace, leaving another security guard, again, confused as to how to get to the on-field runner. And then he scales a third wall and disappears, much to the delight of the Houston Astro fans.
They were loving it.
In this scenario, are you pulling for, when these things happen, are you pulling for the big hit? Or are you pulling for the on-field runner to get away?
I think baseball is the only sport where it's realistic to escape. Because if you watch the Astros video, the good thing about baseball, everyone's very spread out, and security's got to run from usually one of the outfield walls or the third baseline, and they've got to run all the way to center field. You have a good chance of getting to center field before you get caught. In football, it's a little bit more enclosed. There's hundreds of people on the field, and they're all just like aggressive giant men who would probably love to tackle you. I just found the video. James Harrison, I don't know what you call it, but he lifted a guy up and slammed him down. It was violent what James Harrison did to that fan. That fan probably could sue James Harrison, honestly. Basketball, it's not even a question. It's just way too compact on a basketball field. You can never do it on basketball. I don't know where else you could do it. I mean, has anybody ever?
The soccer pitch appears to be you have a.
That's why Europe it works more.
You appear to have a chance because the fans are definitely on your side if you can make it back.
It's a little more open now. But I'm just gonna say, because I know Bill, your son plays soccer. I don't encourage you to try this.
Oh no.
Okay, just want to be sure you're
My
not.
Has
it ever happened on a golf course? Has to have happened on a golf course, just running across the fairways.
Yeah,
or...
I think again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that at some point that
golf course got all the space in the world.
Yeah, you can get, but you're also dealing with some brush.
That's why I'm thinking. Do you streak in a cart?
No, you got to. But I mean, you got to be very careful. You go into the woods as a streaker at a golf course.
Oh.
You're really taking.
I would jump into
liberties.
I would jump into one of the ponds or
that's
whatever.
The thing.
Make them come get you.
Maybe you can do it like down at the Heritage this week, and you can jump out into the ocean. But again,
and just let the tide take you down.
You're hoping you got a buddy with a boat, and maybe you can get into the sound there. I believe it's the sound that they have, or. I mean, you're taking
streak with nothing but a life jacket.
You're actually be pretty funny.
Then you adopt the Tommy Boy thing. Bees, they're everywhere.
Yeah. You gotta
save yourself.
You have to. I guess you could, because again, golf tournament, you've got a chance. Maybe you can get back into the woods or something and get the clothes back on, and then look a normal patron.
Yeah.
And nobody will really notice. But that would seem to. So we covered a lot of that.
But we have also uncovered a pet peeve that you can't call them streakers if they're fully clothed.
Right. Yeah. What are they? And they're not really protesters either, because most of them are just
trying to introduce a little chaos to the game.
Yeah. There was one at a South Carolina game within the last 2 years, and people might remember this. It was on a kickoff. They South Carolina kicked off, or somebody kicked off, and they were on the bench behind the South Carolina bench, and they jumped out they came down. Because I was looking in that direction from my seats, they jumped out, they kind of ran down they kind of got on the sideline about the 20, veered out to about the hash mark, veered back in, ran through the team, jumped back up into the stands, and got away. And I think the reason they got away is it looked like as they were going onto the field that they were just the person who goes and gets the tee for the kickoff. And when they veered, they took a hard left and cut back through the team and got into the stands. And security didn't notice them. Nobody really noticed them. The only reason I noticed is I just happened to see them come out of the stands, run, I'd say, a good 80 yards, get back in the stands, and then boogie on up the stairs and get away.
But then your day's done.
It wasn't even really a noticeable event, I think, for the majority of the fans.
Well, did you see John's text where he said there was a spring game streaker under Lou? Ran all the way across the east stands in nothing but sneakers and a Gamecock helmet? Can anyone else confirm that?
That's probably right. I mean, again, the spring games under Lou
Holtz.
Oh,
it says ran across. Was he on the field or just in the stands, running across the stands?
Yeah, the spring games under Lou Holtz were not as well attended. Spurrier is the one who really got the big one. I'm trying to think. It was Rainey and Garcia and Gary Gray.
Could it have been Garcia that did that?
No, I don't. It could have been. It could have been.
Just.
But no, I'm trying to think. That was the first spring game I remember that Garcia was a recruit. That I remember very well. Maybe the first Spurrier spring game was also very, very well attended. But I think it was the second or third. But it was a rainy day for the one that I'm thinking of with Steven Garcia there. They were trying to make it a big production. But it wasn't until Steve Spurrier came that really South Carolina spring games, the attendance really, really took off.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe someone, Steve Fink or someone down there can tell us what the record is for spring game attendance. I don't know if they keep those. Just like this week, it'll be free admission. So I don't know if there's somebody keeping count when you walk through the gates, but free admission there if you want to go. So,
Travis did have this happened last year. I don't know if we even talked about it on the show, but it was hilarious. I feel like it's something we would have talked about. But there was a Nationals fan during a rain delay. I remember the tarp had a big Skittles logo on it, and he was buck naked, diving on the tarp, using it as a slip and slide, and then the plastic roll that they rolled the tarp up over, he got inside of it and was crawling inside of it and hiding inside of it.
Was that I remember that one. That was a great one because
it was hilarious.
He got in the tarp. As Patrick said,
that was a true streaker.
That was a pretty viral one for a little while because he got in the tarp and none of the security guards wanted to get into the
crawl
tarp
in there and go grab him.
And that was actually a really good one. 803-404-6100, how you can join us this morning. Again, last night, South Carolina wins 4-2 over North Florida. They moved to 16-16 on the season. They will host Mississippi coming up tomorrow night at Founders Park. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. You can also catch it on the SEC Network. Plus, the Gamecocks win last night again, 4-2. Other baseball news last night. Again, Tennessee, who was 31-1 on the season, played a wooden bat game at a AAA affiliate, the Tennessee Smokies up in Tennessee. They played Tennessee Tech, and they lost 3-2 in a wood bat game, which kind of raised the question for me. Do these happen? Do these wood bat games happen? I mean,
first I've heard of it.
Seems like a cool idea, but it also seems like one that you kind of definitely got to guarantee you're going to win, right?
Will that ever? I mean, is that just part of college baseball? The metal bats, like, will there ever be a time where they make that switch?
I don't think so. I think they'll.
I like the idea of a metal bat game in the MLB, though. Someone suggested that in the live stream earlier. I think that's a good idea.
It would be
25 to.
Would you
20.
As part of the home run derby is really entertaining to begin with? Mm-hmm. Like it is, they've done a good job with the home run derby of bringing that, of making it a more like the slam dunk competition at the NBA All-Star game is really just become awful.
Yeah, but it was horrible last year.
Major League Baseball doesn't do a whole lot right to begin with, but the home run derby, would you want to see another or would you want to see them incorporate
metal bats,
instead of wood bats into the home run
derby? It might make this because some of the superstars don't always participate in the home run derby because they say that it messes up the swing, or there's that theory. Maybe everyone would participate if there was metal bats. It would be a little bit easier, and you could actually leave the ballpark in MLB stadiums where that's not normal.
Yeah,
I'll be on board with that.
It's just something to consider. But
see Aaron Judge with a metal bat just absolutely launching balls.
Yeah,
it'd be dangerous for cars.
is it Pete Alonso?
Yeah,
is the
the Mets.
two-time defending
Oh, yeah.
champion, and give him a metal bat and let him go in there for the home run derby might be kind of interesting. 803-404-6100. So
Name
that
another
was,
Met.
That was 4-2 last night. South Carolina knocks off North Florida. Tennessee loses 3-2 to Tennessee Tech there in a wood bat game. Just bringing that up. Shane Beamer spoke yesterday with the media. We played some audio and hour number one from him. We'll get back into some of that audio as well. Just other national news last night. NBA play-in game, Patrick. The two play-in games. They'll have two more tonight. It's the new format. You had the Brooklyn Nets knocking off the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then you had the Minnesota Timberwolves beating the Los Angeles Clippers. That was kind of your NBA news last night.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are not that big of a deal, but I know that Heat fans, which you're a proud Heat fan. Now you don't have to face the Nets in round one. So that was big because I don't think anybody wants to play the Nets in round one. Nobody wants to play KD in round one in a 1-8 matchup. So the Nets will get the 7 seed and the Cavs will play the winner of tonight's game. And that team will get the 8 seed. I don't get super into playing games, but I'll get into the series. But I mean, LaMelo and Trae Young should be pretty entertaining tonight, I would think. And San Antonio, New Orleans, I could take or leave.
Yeah, it's but good for New Orleans
really
without
care.
Zion getting into the at least into the play-in game. 803-404-6100. A couple of you weighing in, Bobby. Massive streak at the Russell House back in the 70s. Yeah, I think the 70s was the heyday of the streaking, right? That was definitely right. Like
Yeah, I think
the
so,
heyday
you
of
know,
the streaking, Animal House kind of period.
Yeah. Lots of flowers and love, and maybe some of that's more 60s. I don't know. But
All right. Joe says it was the first Spurrier game. Dude streaked towards the opposite end zone of the fairgrounds. I was there. He remembers that.
Okay.
Gabe remembering exactly what I remembered. He says, remember the unnoticed sprinter last year. No one even acted like anything happened. Yeah, that was kind of the strange thing about it, Gabe. That was just a weird situation. And then a couple more of you weighing in. Richard saying, I love to see the streakers against the fat security guards. Yes, that is. Well, I guess that means
better than the fat streaker against the security guards.
I don't know. The fat streaker can have his own entertainment. Normally because that person knows their limitations and they know they're not they go into it knowing they're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Generally out there to impress probably a female or somebody else. They're out there and they realize that there is a time limit on the on breathing that they're going to get.
Yeah.
And so they pretty much understand. Plus the bigger ones, it takes more of the security guards to get them down.
Right.
It's not a one-man team. You can see if you got the smaller security guard out there, he might bounce off the larger streaker. You got to get. It's more of a group effort to hunt down a hippo. So I'm with Richard on that. He's pulling for the streakers. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can be a part of the program this morning if you'd like to do so. We'll get into that. We'll get back into some Shane Beamer audio. We'll get into this video as well, kind of cutting up on a couple different topics. Aaron Rodgers. Goofing off with a kid or a complete heel?
I think he's goofing around. Though I've looked at it a couple times, and I will not defend Aaron Rodgers.
So did he know that he wasn't going to hit him, or
I think it was just kind of a turn because
he threw it pretty hard.
Yeah, but I think it was just
he does throw it low, kind of at his feet. If you haven't seen it, it's
and
a
he's
clip.
laughing. He turns around and laughs.
It's a clip on at Pardon My Take. He throws an interception in what looks like a little camp game or a little pickup game with a bunch of kids. The kid runs the ball. The thing is, the kid runs the ball back to him and hands it to him, and then runs away celebrating. And Rodgers just whips around.
He doesn't miss a beat. So that to me, that was just fun. It wasn't like, oh, it just was kind of up, turn around.
Yep.
Bam.
I guess good for him instinctively running it back to Aaron Rodgers, because I would have tucked that ball, ran to the sideline, found my mom in the crowd, and said, "Here, hold on to this." And I would have put it in a frame the next day. I intercepted Aaron Rodgers.
At Pardon My Take is where you can see that.
See it on ESPN or eBay the next day.
I have to admit, I'm probably the Aaron Rodgers fan of the program.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
I've become an Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm pulling for him.
I appreciate his talent. And I think he is exceptionally bright. And there are times where I listen to him and it's like, he is a likable guy. It just takes everything I have to like him just because, Bears fan.
I think he's funny in a very deadpan, monotone type of way.
Yes.
I'll
I think he's weird as all get out.
He's definitely weird.
2 weeks ago,
and he loves enemas.
2 weeks ago, they came out with the wins total for the NFL teams. I'll throw a couple of these at y'all when we come back.
Over unders.
And get over unders for the NFL. We'll throw a couple of these at you. We'll get you some more Shane Beamer audio as well and carry on. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Extra Point, plenty more Carolina football as we get closer and closer to the Garnet and Black spring game. We'll focus on the defensive side of the ball. Which defensive players are you most excited to see in person this spring? Plus, what did Shane Beamer say yesterday? And plenty of reaction and analysis to South Carolina's midweek game against North Florida. That and a whole lot more on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
And want to tell you about our good friends at Canty Foundation Specialists. Canty Foundation Specialists offer quality products, proven services, and professional experience to permanently repair any foundation and crawl space problem you might have. Their mission is to create life-changing experiences, and their purpose is to redefine the industry. You can give them a call at 803-424-8380. They've been proudly serving North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and have been great friends of the program for a long time. So if you have any foundation problems like cracks in your exterior brick, cracks in your walls or above windows and door frames, maybe doors or windows that stick, uneven or bouncy floors, or cracks over your garage door, these are all signs of foundation problems, and you're going to want to give Canty a call. Again, 803-424-8380 is their number. Maybe some crawl space issues, like an open crawl space after a storm could leave standing water under your home. High humidity and condensation in the crawl space can create an environment for mold, mildew, and pests, and moisture can lead to wood rot and floor joist problems. Those musty smells and awful odors that come from mold and mildew, they can cause health issues like runny nose, itchy eyes, or coughs. And 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from the crawl space, so you need to get that checked out. 803-424-8380 is the number. CantyCanFixIt.com is the website. So get out there, give them a call, tell them you heard about them from 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And we do have a report of a tie-up. Glen Road at Bachman Road. That's more in the Gaston area. I-20 westbound before exit 92. The left lane is currently blocked. Again, that's I-20 westbound around Highway 601. Left lane currently blocked. Weather-wise, 83 is going to be our high today. It's going to be warm.
When did Legos become a thing? Did you play with Legos as a kid, or is that newer? Yeah.
Sadly, I also played with Lincoln Logs.
I played with Lincoln Logs. Lincoln Logs were cool. Reading about a Lego pop-up bar coming to Nashville in August. A bar consisting of over 1 million blocks. It'll be DJs spinning tunes from a Lego-made DJ stand. Ping pong on a table made from 22,000 bricks.
Reminder tonight, 6 o'clock down here on Main Street. You can get down with the family, hang out, and check out the parade to celebrate the 2022 National Championship for the University of South Carolina women's basketball team. Dawn Staley and her girls will be riding down the road. You can get out, wave, enjoy spending and celebrating the championship that the second one for Staley and South Carolina there, as they knocked off Connecticut now over a week ago. Hard to believe that was about a week and a half ago. But 6 o'clock tonight is when the parade will start down on Main Street. So you can get down here and celebrate with them as everybody comes together. The second national championship for Dawn Staley. Again, that's 6 o'clock tonight down on Main Street here in Columbia. Anonymous texter Patrick has figured out how to text, but doesn't know how to use the internet. Says metal bats don't make the ball go further.
Yeah, that's
Then
not true. I
3
looked
minutes,
that up because
3 minutes later, metal bats don't make the ball go further. And then you sound like you don't know what you're talking about when you talk baseball. Sir, sir or ma'am, either one, either or. Just Google it. There's literally every article. The aluminum bat. Now, but there is one that says aluminum bat. There's another one that says, does a baseball go further with wooden or metal bat? Metal bats are great for hitting the baseball further. That's from baseballhover.com. That's the joke. You probably will get that one. But 803-404-6100, how you can join us. We'll get some more Shane Beamer audio coming up in a minute. Spring game, 7 o'clock Saturday night over at Williams-Brice Stadium, free to the public. Be interesting to see the It'll be very interesting, Patrick, to see the attendance for this game. And again, we'll play some Shane Beamer audio here in just a second. But we played the opening from Shane Beamer yesterday, or he spoke with the media yesterday, and we played his opening statement, and he talked about it. You'll have a game that'll be just like a regular game. They're going to do some situational work. He also talked about the special teams groups. Sounds like he's very excited about that, and that's part of Beamer ball, right? The definition of Beamer ball is being able to do things on special teams. And South Carolina last year blocked several punts. Look, the 2-point, I guess you'd call it a trick play. They lined up for in the bowl game that put them up 15-0. That does give you momentum. We did see elements or the basics, I'd say, the foundation of Beamer ball last year in terms of special teams. Now, we didn't see the kickoff return or the punt return, but you saw pretty much everything else in play.
Yeah, but it's actually quietly going to be a big deal not having Parker White around anymore.
It is.
Because you knew if you needed a big kick, if you could just get in 40 or under, he was going to knock it through every single time. Like, he was very, very reliable. Not having a kicker that you know for a fact he's going to just drill everything 40, 45 and in, that could really dictate the results of games. I mean, points are hard to come by. Hopefully this is a high-scoring team and it doesn't really matter. But in crucial moments, not having that peace of mind, that could be a big deal.
I do think you've got Mitch Jeter and Alex Herrera are the two competing for the two that I've seen. They talked about him the other day. Shane talked about him hitting some practice shots this season, or this spring, I should say, getting ready for the season as they'll battle it out. And that's a great point, because you think about the second game of the year, we don't really talk about Parker White enough. We get caught up in the Auburn game and then the Florida game and the games that took place, the North Carolina game late in the year. But that was a huge kick, obviously, against East Carolina to win that ball game. And we kind of forget that. And Parker White, who enrolled, I think, the year after I did in 2001 and has been around and certainly was experienced.
All-time leading scorer at the university.
It is going to be interesting for Shane and Pete Limbo this coming season.
Have you seen what he's doing right now, training for the draft? Apparently a bunch of teams told him they wanted to practice punting too.
Okay.
So he's practicing kicking and punting right now in preparation for the draft.
That's good for him. See if
he's never punted a ball before in his life.
That's something. Special teams is so foreign. Like when you talk about punting, because we all think, oh, just drop the ball and kick it, right? Put it out in front.
Yeah.
You think about it, it's the I don't know what.
I can't kick a field goal, but I can punt a football.
If we got everybody together and we said, all right, what is for non-sports, for two guys who are doing sports talk radio, for non-professional sports people, what is the easiest thing to do? Shoot a free throw, make a 5-foot punt a football. Like, would punt the football be up there?
Yeah.
Because you think, I'll just hold it out in front of you and drop and kick, right?
Yeah.
But that's got to be one of the hardest things, because there's different ways to do it. You can put the backspin on it, or I say you can get it the way you spin it. You can also you got the people who will kick it with the side spin, so it's harder in the NFL to be able to gauge how to catch it, or to gauge where exactly to be.
Pat McAfee having a huge platform now, he talks a lot about punting and the little things that you would never know that are a big deal for punting, because the coverage is always designed to sort of funnel to a certain direction. So if you have your coverage running down to expect a catch on the left hash, but you kick it on the right hash, there's going to be no one there covering the kick, and you could set up a big return and things like that. And obviously not punting touchbacks all the time and Colton cornering and things like that are particular skills, but also just the idea of everyone is running at you as fast as you can. You need to catch the ball, drop it, and punt it in as fast of a time as you can, because you're going to get crushed if you don't. Like, there's no situation where more people are coming after you with their ears pinned back than a punt. So the pressure of almost getting crushed, and also if you get a punt blocked, that hurts your foot so bad. If you kick a person's helmet because they dove at you and blocked the punt, that hurts so bad. So there is a lot of pressure, and we've talked to Perry about how scary it is just sitting in the pocket knowing that Myles Garrett is coming after you and you need to get rid of the ball before he destroys you and swallows you. The same thing will happen to a punter.
Just interesting things. I didn't know that about Parker White. Certainly some good information there. We have a text message in on the personal text message line.
Tommy.
This is the kind of information that fits our show so well. normally Tommy sends us baseball news, or earlier he sent us a video of Mike Curtis, a former Baltimore Colt. Did you watch the video that he sent us?
Yeah.
Just some, Jen, as you like to say, some pork chop. Some guy, like they're downing, they're marking the ball for the next play. Some guy runs out of the stands and like just thinks, oh, I'll be cute. I'll pick up the ball and run off with it. And it's something from the 70s. And a Baltimore Colt player, like, it's just standing, it just levels him. Just, I mean, you talk about getting a free shot on a
Forearm,
guy.
sure,
Just
yeah.
forearm, just lays him out. Tommy has now sent in something. Which school has set the record for streaking? Students streaking. And then Tommy says North Carolina had set the streaking record. Then South Carolina broke their record. So the University of Georgia students decided to shatter it in Athens. And then Tommy goes on to tell us he was there at the Russell House. We've had a couple people text about the streaking incident or whatever in 74 at the Russell House. Tommy just wants to let us know he was there in 74 but didn't participate.
So what were
Oh.
you doing?
He was
that day
cheering,
at the
I
Russell
guess. He
House
was
in
cheering
1974,
wildly, I
Tommy?
guess. Yeah.
Have you seen his camera with the extra long lens?
We'll go to break on that one. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. 7:41 on a Wednesday, April the 13th. Hope you're doing well this morning. Been talking a lot about just different topics. That kind of a loose Wednesday morning. Obviously, spring game coming up. We'll get you some more Shane Beamer audio from what he had to say yesterday. We will get into some NFL discussion. Again, South Carolina last night also winning 4-2 over North Florida in baseball. The Gamecocks moved to 16-16 on the season. Cam Tringali picks up his first victory of the season. Matthew Becker picks up the save. The Gamecocks had 8 hits to just 4 for North Florida. The Gamecocks putting up runs in the 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th. North Florida putting up 2 runs in the 6th. So the Gamecocks now 16-16 on the season. They will host Mississippi 7 o'clock Thursday night at Founders Park. Reminder, just for those of you making weekend plans, it'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series for the Gamecocks and the Rebels. Also, we got the RBC Heritage going on. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Is good field down there for the RBC Heritage this coming week, the week after the Masters. Patrick, I'll continue to tell you, if you want to go to a golf tournament, the Masters is a bucket list item. I would definitely tell you need to go one time in your life, pay the money for the tickets, go visit it, because it's just a different kind of experience. But go once. If you don't, go once to say you experienced. I would tell you to go multiple times to the RBC Heritage. Like, that's you are far more likely to see.
You've never been to the Scottsdale one or the Waste Management.
No, but I'm talking about something that's local that you could go
easy,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's the bucket list golf tournament, right?
Well-
Well, I guess maybe if you want to just say the British Open or whatever, but that's the one, right?
next year. They have
Super
not
Bowl?
put out the PGA Tour schedule for 2023 yet, but right now, if things hold true to form with what they do on a yearly basis, the Waste Management in Scottsdale will be the same weekend as the Super Bowl, and you'd be able to go out there and check out both the Super Bowl and the Waste Management. You talk about a bucket list weekend, like, or if you like the party.
I would like to be in the town of the Super Bowl and just kind of see the festivities. I really have no interest in going to a Super Bowl.
I'm kind of with you on that. On not
Or really I don't have an interest in going to a college football national championship either. I just really don't care.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, if it's your team,
Yeah,
totally
that's
different,
something different.
But no, I'm with you actually on that as well in terms of going to and attending the Super Bowl game.
Well, and if the Gamecocks played for the national championship, I would want to be there. But if the Washington Commanders played for the Super Bowl, I wouldn't want to be there.
I'm with you on that. Okay, that makes sense because of what it is. I'm just looking real quick. Hyatt Place in Phoenix, Arizona, at Phoenix Airport, basically where the Super Bowl, obviously Glendale, and then where and Scottsdale not far away. Hyatt Place next year from Wednesday, February 8th through Sunday, February 12th. Right now, $650 a night. They're gearing up for you right now. If you want to come out there, a Superstay Hotel by Best Western near the Phoenix Airport is $600 a night, and there's one room left. Yeah. So if you want to go, but that's the place to be next year.
Is that not price gouging? What is that?
No, it's supply and demand.
Is it only price gouging if it's like a natural disaster?
Yes, I believe. We are not the show to get into economics.
Because like in Indianapolis, a lot of times for the Indy 500,
Yeah.
you have to have at least. It used to be a 3-night stay that was the minimum. Now some of the hotels are letting you do a 2-night, but yeah, no, it's just based around like you said, supply and demand.
Yeah. I mean, I just naturally know that everything's more expensive when there's a big event, but
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was like the definition of price gouging.
No,
Yeah.
no,
That's only
big
in
event. Great opportunity to take advantage. Speaking of the Super Bowl next year, let me give you two a couple teams here. This is from 2 weeks ago. The NFL has put the Las Vegas, not the NFL, although I'm sure the NFL had something to do with it, the way they have their hand in everything. They've put out win totals for next year, Patrick, and a few of them here that I will throw at you. Let's just get over-unders, Jen and Patrick. The top 2 teams here, Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. The Buccaneers, 11.5 wins. The Bills, 11.5 wins. Where are you going with the Bucs and the Bills?
Over on both.
You're taking over on both? Jen, what are you going? Bucs, Bills, over, under, 11.5 wins for next year. team wins. You got the Buccaneers. Tom Brady's back, 11.5 wins. The Bills with 11.5 wins. Just re-signed Stephon Diggs.
I'm taking that back.
Patrick's already changing his answer. I can't even get to Jen. What do you got?
Over on Bucks, under on Bills.
Over on Bucks, under on Bills.
Because of their divisions and conferences.
Do what? Okay. What do you got? Over under 11.5 wins for the Bucks and the Bills next year. Okay. Next two teams right now, according to Las Vegas, I'm using DraftKings. And I think this one's interesting because, Patrick, I don't know why the Packers have an over-under win total of 11. Right now, basically, you and I could go be the wide receiving core. Aaron Rodgers is back. Defensively, I think they're okay. I don't think they're bad defensively.
They lost to Darius Smith.
But Packers, let's just start with that. Jen, Packers, 11 wins next year, over, under. Really? You got a lot of faith in Aaron Rodgers. What are you going?
11-6 actually does sound spot on for what the Packers should be.
Probably so. So 12-5 to get you over.
I don't think.
But what do you think? Better odds they go 12-5 or 10-8?
I'd say 10-8. Yeah, I'd say 10-8.
Okay, so you're going to take the under.
That is kind of tough.
Chiefs 11 wins next year.
Under. I'm going under on all the AFC teams. It is going to be a really, really competitive conference.
Okay.
The Bucks, I feel confident they're over just because their division is garbage. That's 6 free wins right there.
Okay.
There's no way the Falcons with the 0 wide receivers and Marcus Mariota, Kenny Pickett and the Panthers, or Jameis Winston and the Saints are beating the Bucks.
Couple more here real quick. Patrick, your Commanders right now per Vegas, 7.5 wins next year.
They'll go over. They'll go 8-9.
Okay.
They'll go 8-9, and then they'll have a middle of the first round pick again, and they're destined to be in no man's land forever. Never bad enough to get a top pick, never good enough to be competitive.
Jen, your Bears next year, 7 wins. You got 7, you got 8-10, or you got 6-12. Oh, net positive. I like the positive vibe. A positive vibe. Panthers, 6 wins next year.
Under.
You going under?
I'm looking at their schedule right now. Best case scenario I see is a 5-win team.
Best case scenario.
Yeah, because they've got
Giants,
trash, Lions, trash, Seahawks, trash. That could be 3 wins, and then the Falcons twice.
So 5.
If they sweep the Falcons, which they won't because the Falcons have a better quarterback than the Panthers, and then maybe beat the Saints, that could get them 2-6. I don't see a scenario where they go more than 6 wins.
Jen? Both of y'all taking.
I mean, they're not look at their schedule. They play the AFC North, so are they going to beat the Steelers? No. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Neither the Ohio teams. They're not beating the Ravens either. Yeah, I'm under 6.
Final one to throw at both of you. The Texans. They have the lowest win total per Vegas right now. The projected win total 4.5 next year. 4-14 or 5-13. Where you going?
Under. You could have said 1.5. I would have gone under. They're going to be terrible.
Yeah, it's gonna take what, a couple of years.
I think they might win 3 games.
Okay, well, that would be under 4.5. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program. We'll wrap up hour number 2 when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. 803-404-6100. You can be a part of the program this morning. Patrick, you were mentioning some NFL news. Kenny Pickett, who was just on television, but meeting with the Carolina Panthers today.
Yeah, top 30 visit with the Panthers today. So he will is probably already in Charlotte. They'll get another good measurement of his hands, watch him hold a football, see if he can squeeze it.
They don't do workouts with him. Are they not allowed
They
to do
can.
that?
I think they can. Yeah, but I think mostly it's going to be board work and just interviewing him, getting to know him as a person. But a lot of it, for especially for quarterbacks, is going to be draw your favorite play. What would you do here, this, that, and kind of give them some homework. They might. I don't know. Sometimes they can give them homework beforehand and ask them to study something and then come explain what concepts they looked up. So yeah, I mean, it's usually a pretty good sign. They'll probably bring in all of the quarterbacks, I'm guessing. And yeah, I'm actually seeing a tweet right here. They brought in Sam Howell and Bailey Zappi on Monday. Yesterday, they brought in Malik Willis, Matt Corral, and Desmond Ritter, and then today's Kenny Pickett. So that's the top 6 quarterbacks, arguably. This might indicate that they have zero interest in Carson Strong because he's not getting a visit.
Mm-hmm.
They also have Evan Neal, Ike Ekwonu, and Charles Cross, the 3 elite offensive tackles. So I don't know how that makes you feel as a Panthers fan. They've got 9 visits locked in with the top 3 offensive tackles and probably the top 6 quarterbacks. So they're doing their due diligence, but Kenny Pickett is the last to go. I don't know if you read into that and say he's their favorite, so they'll give him the last impression, the last chance to make an impression. But interesting, not surprising, but fairly intriguing.
Well, I mean, yeah, you bring him in. If that's the top quarterback on your board, I think the question becomes, you see how the first 5 picks in front of you play out.
Well,
and if one of those guys that you like, I think that's on the offensive line, if you believe more in, then you go with them. I see, one name that appears to be moving up, or maybe he's been up there, Travion Walker, Georgia.
Trayvon Walker, yeah.
Trayvon Walker. Yeah, I mean, I see him looking at the 3 CBS mock drafts. They've got him at 3 and 4 in the 2 others.
There are rumors that he's being discussed for number 1 because Trent Baalke, the Jaguars GM, likes athletic guys, but I think that's ridiculous because Aiden Hutchinson is also a freak athlete. But Trayvon Walker tested off the charts. His production didn't match it at all at Georgia, but he's a freak athlete, so he is flying up boards right now.
We'll get you some Shane Beamer audio, more Shane Beamer audio coming up in hour number 3. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, there could be 3, 5. There could be 6 first-round picks from the Georgia defense. That would be realistic. All their defensive linemen, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, and then Trayvon Walker will, I would say, are pretty much locks for the first round. Nakobe Dean should be, but people are thinking he might be a little undersized and might be scared of drafting him in the first round. And then Quay Walker, their other linebacker, and then Lewis Sign, their safety as well, could be 6. I think there's a realistic chance of George Pickens being a first round pick as well. So that could be 7 total Georgia players. Jennington will probably be.
Get your keyword ready. Keyword.
Bank, B-A-N-K, bank. That is B-A-N-K, bank. Wednesday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. It is 8:04. We'll get you some Shane Beamer audio from yesterday as he met with the media to discuss Saturday night's spring game, 7 o'clock at Williams-Brice Stadium. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. You'll be able to catch it on the SEC Network Plus. Last night, Patrick, I believe I saw the Missouri spring game was on. We heard the promo for Heath Klein later this afternoon. He'll have Mike Morgan on. I didn't know this because I didn't spend a lot of time following spring games this past weekend, but you mentioned it snowed up in
Apparently,
Lexington,
yeah.
Kentucky for their spring game.
I would like to find out what the attendance was for that because I did see the before and after pictures where it started snowing in the afternoon there. That is miserable. I had a miserable time when I went to the Kentucky game.
Kentucky is a fun time, depending on when South Carolina plays them. I was used to going. Someone can help me with this. Is it the beginning of October is when Keeneland opens up, I believe, the racetrack up there. It's been years since I've been up to Kentucky. The last time I was up there, Steven Garcia came in, I believe, in the fourth quarter and rallied South Carolina to a victory. It was a day Ryan Suckup had a leg injury and missed 5 field goals, but it was Garcia who came in. So, I mean, you're talking 09, I think, something that, what is it? It's going to be 2022. So maybe it was 10. Maybe it was 2010 or maybe 2008. You get the point. It's been some years ago. It's been a long time, and South Carolina will play up there, I believe, October 8th this year, which should be a lot of fun. And again, I think that is the weekend. You can look that up, Patrick. I believe it's the weekend, maybe the horse tracks open up there. I'll look and see, but that has always been a fun trail. You can go, a fun trip. You can go up and do the Bourbon Trail and hang out up there. I know for a long time, I hate to say it like this because it's going to be a little depressing, when South Carolina was running roughshod over Kentucky, and that was a constant victory. A lot of people loved that trip. Well, now Kentucky's kind of flipped the script and won 6 of the last 7 against the Gamecocks. And just to kind of real quickly, because we're talking football again, we'll play some Shane Beamer coming up in the next segment. But to talk a little bit about this schedule as we look at the spring game this weekend and then look ahead, that likely could define the season. And here's why I say that, Patrick. Kentucky's a good football team. We've seen that. I think they're one of the best coached football teams, best coached football teams in the SEC. When you talk about what they've done, they've outcoached South Carolina really 6 of the last 7 years. And if they would have figured out they did it at the end of the game 2 years ago when they're 3 years ago, 2 years ago when they lost. They put in who was the wide receiver? Remember, they went through all the quarterbacks.
Oh,
And then they put him Bowden.
Lynn Bowden.
Lynn
Yeah,
Bowden.
Lynn
Put him
Bowden.
in late in the game. South Carolina was up, but he
What was
started.
that quarterback's name that night?
He was not good.
It was the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen in my life.
He was
horrendous.
It was up there with the Jacob Eason 5 of 19
Can't believe I
performance that I
forgot.
saw.
I'm gonna
here
look
at
it up.
Rice Stadium.
What year was this?
That was
You're
that was
good with
2019. 2019. That was one of
Yeah,
South
because I was
Carolina's
at
4
the
wins.
game that made it 5 in a row, the 2018 game in Lexington, where Bentley was really bad, threw 3 interceptions, back-breaking interceptions. It was really cold. It was miserable, and it was a night game, and we drove 6.5 hours home after the game. We didn't get home till 7 in the morning. It was awful.
But if you look at the schedule, and here's why, South Carolina will be, barring injuries, we don't know what South Carolina or Kentucky will
Sawyer
be.
Smith
Sawyer
went
Smith.
11 for 32 with 90 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and then
And
they
an
put in-
interception, no touchdowns.
and then they put in Bowden at
And
the
they put
very
Bowden in,
end, and he actually took him right down the field and scored.
Yeah, I mean,
and-
he ran for 44 yards.
Then they
as a
moved
quarterback.
him to quarterback kind of full time, and they ended up, if you've got their season schedule there, they ended up with 9 wins, I believe, that year. They went to the whatever it was then, the Belk Bowl
Yeah.
or the Dukes
They
Mayo
went 10
Bowl.
and 3.
Yeah, I mean they after they made that switch, everything clicked, and who knows what would have happened if they'd have made that switch earlier.
After they played South Carolina, they beat Florida, they beat LSU, they lost to Georgia, lost to Mississippi State, lost to Tennessee, but then beat Vanderbilt, New Mexico State, and beat Louisville in the Belk Bowl.
That's you get the point. But back to my point on South Carolina football for 2022. A lot still to be determined. You're going to get some more freshmen in this coming summer. Landon Sampson will join a wide receiving group that now is starting to look very interesting. Spencer Rattler will have the summer to continue to work on things. Marshawn Lloyd will be further removed from that knee injury that he sustained. So there's things that will be happening for South Carolina that continues to move them forward. But Patrick, you look at the first 5 games, South Carolina should be a double-digit favorite against Georgia State. I have no clue what that spread will be. I want to say 2 touchdowns, but I have no clue. I'm bad at that. South Carolina should be a double-digit favorite. I'm assuming South Carolina will be an underdog on the road,
Gotta be.
maybe by touchdown.
Yeah, I would say.
From a field goal to a touchdown, 3 to 7 points on the road at Arkansas. Then you get Georgia. South Carolina will be a double-digit underdog, in my opinion, at home against Georgia on Saturday, September 17th. But then you get back-to-back non-conference games. Charlotte.
Ooh. Do you know who Arkansas opens their season with?
Don't tell me I do. Notre Dame? No, Notre Dame's at Ohio State. Arkansas, Notre Dame had a series set up. Who?
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
It's an interesting matchup.
So Arkansas gets Cincinnati to open the season. South Carolina gets Georgia State. Maybe that helps you a little bit. But weeks 4 and 5, Patrick, are Charlotte and South Carolina State. And let's be honest, there's not going to be a Gamecock fan around who is in a great mood if they're 3-2 going to Kentucky with wins over Georgia State, Charlotte, and South Carolina State, but losses to your SEC teams. And that's I don't know who would right now as we sit here on April 13th. Which game is more difficult? At Arkansas, KJ Jefferson's back. They did lose Travion Burks.
Traylon.
Okay, thank you.
Bumper Pool's back though.
Bumper Pool.
Yeah,
he's back. They've got some guys, and they added. I'm blanking on the wide receiver that they added
from Oklahoma, Jaden Hazelwood.
Thank you, Hazelwood. They're going to be a good football team. More difficult game at Arkansas, September 10th. At Kentucky, October 8th.
At Arkansas. I think it's at Arkansas.
Do you?
I still disrespect Kentucky. I don't know why. I don't really disrespect them. I think they're objectively a better program than South Carolina is right now. But something about Arkansas. Maybe I need to see it with my own eyes. But there's just some allure to Arkansas where I just feel like it's such a scary place to play. All the people woo pig suing and that disgusting hog in a cage outside the stands with all the cheerleaders swinging their pom-poms in front of it. I just feel like Arkansas fans are just rabid, And Sam Pittman, I love, and I feel like they're just going to be really physical and huge and intimidating. So I just feel like that's a harder environment. Kentucky's still a basketball school first and foremost.
That's a game Arkansas will
SEC West, I don't know.
I haven't looked. I saw a report the other day. Don't think, as of right now, I think this is set to be the final season for the SEC on CBS. I believe I'm right on that. I'm not. I read that a while back. I believe it's 2023 is when ESPN takes over the SEC contract. We can look that back up here in a few minutes, but I think that is the opening weekend of CBS. They always do the U.S. Open, the tennis tournament, and I believe September 10th is opening weekend for the SEC on CBS. Very likely that could be the game. And I saw on the bigspur.com the other day, I don't think South Carolina's ever won a road game on CBS.
It's very possible.
They've won on the road on ABC, but the 3:30 CBS game or the 8 o'clock CBS game, South Carolina has not won on the road on a CBS game, which obviously it's a bigger game. It's a more high-profile game. But to my knowledge, South Carolina's not won that, and that would certainly be a monster game for them. And it's one that is winnable, right? Like, as we sit here today, the Arkansas game, week 2, is winnable. And honestly, if South Carolina's going to take the next step forward, they probably have to split those 2 games against Arkansas and Kentucky. They're both road games. They're both games you'll be underdogs in. But Texas A&M, who South Carolina has not
I don't know that we
beaten,
know they'll be an underdog in the Kentucky game. We have that one's later in the season. So, I mean, Kentucky could just completely
Could have
fall
some
apart.
injuries
I mean, they
or-
have a new offensive coordinator now. They looked like they were going to be really dangerous going forward with Liam Cohen, but he's now the OC in Los Angeles for the Rams. And do you know who their new offensive coordinator is?
who?
Rick Scangarello.
Okay. And where did he come
NFL
from?
guy. He was an NFL guy. So I don't know how similar it's going to be, but I mean, who is the better quarterback, KJ Jefferson or Will Levis?
KJ Jefferson terrifies me far more than Will
'Cause
Levis.
He runs physically.
He can hurt you. He can do
I mean,
some
they're both
serious-
athletic. Will Levis was a running quarterback at Penn State, and then he's on people's radar for the draft next year. People may not. South Carolina fans, I think, poo-pooed the idea that he was dangerous last year. I don't know why he wasn't really respected by this fan base, but he's good.
Kentucky, just to point out, you mentioned Eric hit us up, I believe, on the text line and said, or excuse me, anonymous texter hit us up and said, how about Vandy going to Hawaii? Did you see that? August 27th, week 0, Vanderbilt takes a vacation. I mean, if you're
How much would South Carolina fans love to play a road game at Hawaii? How many people would go? It's such an expensive trip.
I was going to say it's not
So
cheap.
expensive.
It's not like going to say College Station or Austin,
Yeah.
Texas or Norman, Oklahoma when you get those 2 games on the schedule. It's not like drivable to Nashville, which is you drive to Nashville, it's still a haul,
Yeah,
but you can drive. Yeah, I don't know how many people
can't bring the RV.
and let's be honest,
to
if you're
Honolulu.
going out to a game in Hawaii, you're not going for like Friday, Saturday. You're not flying out
Yeah,
Friday
flying-
morning and flying back Sunday
Get back
afternoon.
to work
Like-
on Monday morning.
Like,
You
yeah,
have no idea what time it is.
it's not how it's working. But let me go back to this Kentucky schedule just real quick because I do believe in some of these things and how it plays out with games in certain spots. Miami of Ohio, and then September 10th, Kentucky is at Florida. So September 10th will be a big day in the SEC. Kentucky at Florida, Billy Napier. That's a big game for him. Then Kentucky will host Youngstown State and Northern Illinois. The week before South Carolina goes to Kentucky goes to Mississippi and takes on Jackson Dart and Lane Kiffin and Mississippi. And I don't know if that's the kind of game that could wear them down or beat them up and make South Carolina give South Carolina a little bit better chance because after watching South Carolina lose 6 of the last 7 to Kentucky, I can't predict the Gamecocks to win that football game. Just like I mean, granted, Texas A&M's the better football team without question. I would never predict South Carolina to beat Texas A&M, who's the Gamecocks' opponent the following week, which is another reason that Kentucky game to me is so big.
You think they have a better chance of winning at home against Texas A&M or at Kentucky? Because that's a different question. I mean, Texas A&M, it feels like is only gonna get better every year, right?
Right. The way they're
So
recruiting.
it's almost like this is your last chance.
Well, I think the loser's mentality is what I'm about to say, but what I would say is with with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, you're pulling like crazy for Texas A&M to be taken off the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like
You'd love to beat them first, just once.
you would love to beat them, and it does feel like there is a transition this year. Max Johnson going there at quarterback. They've got a ton. Obviously, that recruiting class absolutely ridiculous, and you certainly want to get them one time. But I'm assuming next offseason, or maybe in the next 8 months, we will get an idea of what the SEC is going to do with divisions or pods or whatever and schedules moving forward, so people can start to make plans. I'm assuming that'll happen. But yeah, I mean, you're pulling like crazy. I think for the SEC to go to four team pods and figure out just whatever they do with the SEC championship, you don't even care about. Just whatever, man. I don't care. Or maybe it's pods and it's broken down into 2 8-team divisions, but you're in 4 team pods, and that's who you play.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I just love the pod idea.
I got to admit, because as a fan of, it's funny, Alan says I would take out a second mortgage if Carolina played at Hawaii. I would, I'm a big road trip person. I
Right.
love going. I'm
Same.
fired up for the Austin, Texas trip. Whenever South Carolina goes there, I'm fired up to go to Norman, Oklahoma. I have no idea how much fun Norman, Oklahoma is. On the surface, to me, it seems like a bunch of tumbleweeds and just dirt, and then there's a college town, kind of like going to Starkville, Mississippi, in my mind.
The
but
only video I've ever seen of the nightlife at Norman, Oklahoma is when that MMA guy choked out 2 football players for Oklahoma. You remember that?
No.
Last year.
Yeah, and Day points out, thank you. We've lost to Kentucky 7 of the last 8. That makes me feel even better. So definitely not picking South Carolina in that game. But you get the point there. It's hard to pick South Carolina in that game, but that Kentucky game and that Arkansas game to start the season, my goodness, you got to split those, right?
Yeah.
As we start to look at the schedule for next year,
if you want to what? Be an 8-win team? If you want to be an 8-win team, certainly. There's not many layups on there.
If we're being completely negative and you don't split them, it's hard to pick South Carolina to beat Georgia or Texas A&M at home.
Of course.
Okay. So if you're being completely negative, you're saying you're 3-4 going into the 5-game stretch, that the last 3 are at Florida, Tennessee, which is, again, right now, hard to pick South Carolina over Tennessee after what I saw last year, and then at Clemson. So if you're 3-4 after those first
then you can
7,
beat Missouri at home, go to Vanderbilt and win, then lose out.
If
you can't win at Kentucky, what are your odds of winning at the Swamp? If we want to be negative,
I actually am less fearful of Billy Napier and Florida than I am of.
Who do you not respect? Billy Napier or Anthony Richardson?
Made me rank those 3 games. All right, what's toughest? At Arkansas, at Kentucky, at Florida. Florida would be the easiest one on that schedule.
Why?
We know I've been negative on Florida for multiple years. I'm not buying Billy Napier at Florida. I'm not going to.
Because he spurned South Carolina?
There's something about
Is
Napier.
there saltiness there?
There's something about Napier that I don't think will work at Florida. There's something there. And he's got Anthony Richardson is.
He's too serious? Like, what does work at Florida?
I don't know. It's been such a long.
Felt like Dan Mullen had more goofy Spurrier in him than any of the previous coaches. But it was also just weird. He's just a weird guy.
He was Jim
McElwain. Do you want to talk about weird guys? Jim McElwain was a weird guy too, though.
That's true. I mean, Muschamp wasn't exactly Muschamp had quirks.
He's more of like a meathead, though.
What?
Muschamp was an intense, quirky guy.
What were his quirks, though?
He was just kind of like he's
just he's a football guy.
He added a U in the word program.
Yeah, that's not a quirk, though.
But I mean,
actually, that's how when I had addiction class at Butler, that was, you were supposed to say things like program, vegetable, not vegetable.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe he was speaking clearly, but he was wound tighter than an 8-day clock.
He was.
I mean, if you want to say quirk, are you thinking of things like Thanksgiving's a meal, not a day? Those aren't quirks, though. Those are just football guy.
Well, but it was
football guy isms.
Well, but it was. There were times that he would, I think, try to make a joke, and he would be the one who got the joke, but unfortunately, nobody else would get it. And it was like, I'm trying to be funny here,
He had
It's not,
somewhat of a sense of humor, though.
there was times. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. He was.
He
Well,
didn't whiff on all his jokes.
Mullen at times had a sense of humor.
I think Mullen is just a really weird dude, though. I mean, the Darth Vader thing was one of the weirdest and most tone deaf press conferences I've seen. He was an absolute lunatic on the field that day, and thought it would be funny to be Darth Vader. I will never understand that. That was not funny at all.
Well, obviously, we've got plenty of time to discuss this, but it is kind of fun to look ahead when you talk about this schedule. But that opening 7, I think you'd go probably 6-game stretch because Texas A&M would be the 7th game, Patrick. And Texas A&M is after a bye week. The Fair will be in town. Hey, everybody get excited! Fair game, October 22nd, Texas A&M.
Yay.
But you like that?
No,
not a fan. I think
I'm not a fan of the Fair game.
just looking ahead, just guessing, just pure guessing. If the record is what it is, and Texas A&M is what they are, I would guess like a 7:00 SEC network game. It just feels right for Texas A&M Fair game at that time. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Ray wants to weigh in on some football. Ray, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, I heard you guys talking about Arkansas and Kentucky, and every year we have those so-called swing games, and like those are games to me that we're either underdogs by 7 or less, or we're favored by 7 or less. And 4 games that stick out to me, and they're going to be tough. Arkansas, Kentucky, and both those are road games. So I'm like, if we can split there, that'd be good. If we can win them both, that'd be just excellent. And then the other 2 games are 2 home games, Tennessee and Missouri. To me, those 4 games, I know there's other games on the schedule as well that maybe we could say the same about being the swing games. To me, those 4 games right there, if we split, I think we'll at least be bowl eligible, maybe even 7 wins. But if we can win 3 out of 4, I think we're headed to taking a major step forward. But what I'd like to see this team, other than the offense, much better, and hopefully Spencer Rattler stays healthy and he plays like he did for most of the part when he was in Norman, Oklahoma. But the thing is, the defensive line and our linebackers, I'd like to see us be able to get more pressure on the quarterback. And I think our defensive ends have a chance to have a big season this year. But that's where I'm weighing it about. But thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate the phone call, Ray. Yeah, I mean, this is a situation, Patrick, where we assume South Carolina is going to be better, but you feel like the schedule has been upgraded with Arkansas. I feel like Arkansas will be better than the Auburn team they played last year. I feel like Tennessee is going to be better.
Yeah, but when you looked at it 3 years ago and you said, okay, well, you got Auburn in 2022 or in 2021, but then in 2022 you get Arkansas. That could be the year. Yeah.
Oh no, I was pointing to 4 years ago. I was like,
this is the year to go for it.
4 years ago, 3 years ago, and we got to hit a break, but I'll do this real quick. I was like, man, that's Muschamp's year because South Carolina should roll Arkansas. I think I don't know his exact year now, but I think Helinski was going to be a junior or senior or something. Somewhere in there, I was like, oh, Helinski's going to be older, and you got Arkansas, and there's no reason South Carolina shouldn't start 4-1. By then, Muschamp will have the program better than Kentucky. Yeah. That's a win. Chalk that one up. Tennessee stinks.
By that point, Helinski's a junior, 10-win team. He goes to the NFL, then Gunnar Stockton steps right in, and by then you're just a machine. You're a machine again, so it doesn't matter who's on the schedule. Yeah, that's what it was. Here we are.
Sports Talk Radio.
After starting a coach and a FCS quarterback last year. We're scared of Arkansas.
Zeb Nolan on Mondays. Zeb's a big dude and can hit the golf ball a mile. 803-404-6100. We'll let you listen to some Shane Beamer from yesterday when we come back. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
So
8:35 on a Wednesday morning, April the 13th. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen, the early game. Hope you're doing well this morning. Getting ready for the RBC Heritage starting tomorrow down in Hilton Head. We've got Easter weekend in front of us. You've also got the South Carolina spring game, which we've been talking a lot about this morning and yesterday. Shane Beamer meeting with the media to kind of preview that. We played some of his audio in the first hour. Here's a little bit more of what Shane Beamer had to say yesterday as media asked him questions regarding spring practice and this coming weekend.
Shane, you've been around this game long enough to know that if a player or two breaks out on Saturday, you'll have fans and maybe some of us in the media will start out getting, hyped up saying, all right, what will be the angle going into fall camp?
Yeah.
How much stock, I'm sure both spring practices and in the game itself, but, how much stock do you put into the game itself, though, in comparison to practice? I'm sure they're both equally important, but to kind of explain the process to people that are on the outside.
No, I think it's I put a lot of stock in it because I do believe, Mike, that now I'm not going to discount the previous 14 practices and then all of a sudden the guy just shows up or disappears or whatever it may be in practice 15 where you read too much into that. But I do think there's something to be said for guys that when the lights come on, they take their game to another level. And we've talked about it as a team the last 2 Saturdays, even just going into the stadium for scrimmages. That when we go into that stadium, it needs to be a different mentality and it's for real and it's like a game. And some guys step up and some guys disappear in a lot of ways. And I think the spring game is another opportunity to go in the stadium, but it's going to be even more magnified now because it'll be on television, it'll be on radio live, it'll be much more people in the crowd, and it'll be interesting to see how a lot of these guys handle that and respond. So I put a lot of stock in it from that standpoint as well. Weighting it also, we're also evaluating the previous 14 practices before it as well.
Shane, I know you mentioned each group has a theme song. Are you able to share a couple of those?
I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. It's not country music. I know that. And not anything that I would know. It's hip hop, rap. It's I hear it every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and they're in our special teams meetings, but I don't know the songs, to be honest with you.
And I know obviously the offense has been banged up a little bit. Jaheim's been out for a while. How do you balance what you've seen from the offense so far to these 14, knowing that you still have some pieces still left to enroll in and get back from it?
Yeah, no, it's been good because you got a lot of guys that have been able to get some work where you have a good understanding of what they can do, with Jaheim being out and Austin Stogner not being here. What an opportunity for Travion Kenyon. What an opportunity. Chad Terrell is working at that position right now for Jesse Sanders. You guys were out there. Wyatt Campbell's wearing number 80 right now and playing tight end just to be able to help us get through practice. So it's really good opportunities for those guys. But then at the same time, you look around and you're the MVP of the bowl game. And the guy that caught 2 big-time touchdown passes in the bowl game are standing over there on the sideline, and they're not practicing right now. So certainly you miss those weapons. You don't have Stogner here. So you realize that there's not a full arsenal, if you will, of guys out there. But what a great opportunity for the guys that have been out there to really step up and show what they can do with increased reps and increased opportunities.
Took me a second. Sorry, I'm out of the loop here. But you mentioned Wyatt. I mean, how much is he actually spending time at tight end during practice? Is he full time there right now? Is he kind of bouncing back and forth?
Yeah, he was. Right now, he's basically full time. Before, he was kind of going back and forth. I guess from last Saturday, Kenyon got banged up a little bit last week. I think it was Thursday. Travion was limited. Tuesday, Thursday, he was kind of limited. So just to be able to get through practice, we just said, okay, you go, play tight end. So he was excited to put on an 80 jersey. The players got a big kick out of it when he was catching some routes, from the quarterbacks and things like that. But right now he's right now he's a tight end. He's not going to be a guy that's going to stretch the field and all that. We're not using him in that role, but to be able to block and be able to do, last year we used Trey Jones as a fullback and he caught a touchdown pass, in short yardage goal line situations. So kind of similar mindset, Wyatt's an offensive lineman first, but he's a guy that in season could certainly, because we're not going to have that necessarily just, massive tight end that you can put in there in short yardage goal line situations to move the ball or move the pile and things like that. So I think he's a guy that, has got the ability to do a little bit of both.
I was going to ask, are we going to see like a Trey Jones style sub package for Wyatt or something like that?
We could. You never know what we'll throw out there as well. So they'll be campaigning for it.
The third 2-point play when we were out there, for the record, I thought it was a catch.
Did you?
By Antoine Wells.
If you notice, Hill, the guy that overruled it came all the way over there on the sideline from where you guys were. So the guy that was the official that was right in front of it, signaled touchdown, and the one that was far away from it, he felt like it was incomplete and was very adamant about it. So I haven't checked the tape on that one, but I appreciate that. The offense, I know, appreciates you saying that.
Well, I was even further away and my vision's not the best, so take that for what it's worth.
All right. It'll be interesting to see what the tape says. But even if that was a touchdown, the defense still got them 6-1. So it wasn't a shutout if that's the case.
And more on the spring game, are you planning to do some of the things that have been done in the past with like the celebrity receiver and those type of things, or do you have some secrets under your hat that you're trying to?
I wouldn't say I have any. I'm being totally honest. I don't have any secrets under my hat, and I really haven't thought about doing anything like that. Not to say that we won't. We'll see how the game's going and things like that. But no, I mean, we want to certainly have some fun with it and entertain people. But I want to see us play football is what I want to see.
And I guess probably to that point, how nice is it to be able to have actual teams this year as opposed to last year where things were a little wonky?
Yeah, no, it's great. Knock on wood, we got to get everybody healthy to the game on Saturday, but it's nice to be able to break it up, to actually have a second offensive line. I mean, last year at this time, you guys remember, we were using our second team corner, defensive back. Our second team corner was a walk-on that had just come out on the team in January and started out the spring as a receiver and ended up moving to DB, come out of the walk-on tryout, and he was our backup defensive back last year just because we didn't have a lot of these guys here at that point, and then we had a bunch of guys with injuries and things like that. So to be able to have a second group, and don't get me wrong, we're not just overloaded with depth. There's still some positions that are concerning, but from a depth standpoint, but at least to be able to break it up into two teams and have it evenly matched was is really good.
Couple for you. Are you going to be the head coach for both teams, or are you going to designate assistants to be head coaches for the respective teams?
Probably going to designate it. I've broke up the coaching staff at this point where the coaching staff is on two different teams, and I was going to sit down with Coach Limbo, Coach Satterfield, and Coach White today to finalize all that stuff. But I'll be out there on the field blowing the whistle because just, for sacks and things like that, I'll be out there for that. But leaning more towards just, each team has their own head coach and let those guys go and make decisions.
Yesterday, talking to the media about the upcoming spring game, and Patrick, just a couple things for that. Again, we like the concept there of making it more of a true game. You heard him talk about last year. There was a lot of injuries and obviously a roster depletion and a few other things that really set them back. And I don't want to say that last year was a disappointment. That seems unfair to Shane Beamer and the guys who are out there actually trying to accomplish stuff, but it was a disappointment. It was just as a fan going out and wanting to see a little bit more and wanting to get a better feel for what the team was going to be. It was, and you're not going to get that, I think, on Saturday night. You hear Shane talk about it. They're going to divide up into two teams. I think you're going to be able to see plenty of Spencer Rattler and Luke Doty and Braden Davis, which I'm interested to see him. I'm interested to see the development of Colton Gauthier. You're going to get kind of, I like that. Let some other coaches be head coaches. That also, on Shane's part, allows some of your guys to develop as coaches to actually coach a game. I like the whole concept that he's got kind of lined up here.
Yeah, he's got a lot of different things to orchestrate. It'll be nice if he can just watch the game sort of and worry about, I don't know, the recruiting and pay more attention to that and not be all stressed out about, all right, well, I got to do this and that because I'm coaching both teams, and get less off of his plate. It's not the most serious thing in the world. Who's coaching what team? It really doesn't matter. You'll have plenty of time to throw the film on in the film room and go over everything as a coach. So yeah, let your assistants have an opportunity, and it's a good way to grow them. And I'm sure it'll be just a nice change for the players too, hearing from somebody else. Like overall, I think it's planned out as well as possible to be viewer friendly and fan friendly,
and a little recruiting friendly, which is what he's got to do. And you make a good point. I don't know what the exact protocol is on that, but I like the concept of what you just said. If you wanted to walk up in the stands and sit next to, say, Trayon Webb, the running back out of Jacksonville, who's the big time prospect, and be like, hey, you saw that run. That's how we utilize you. We need you to come. Or, you walk up and you sit next to another recruit that you really need and go, hey, you saw that.
Yeah, if they're on the field at any point, he can go over and talk to them, talk to their parents, and that could go a long way rather than saying, hey, nice to see you guys, but I got to get out here and coach because we got a drive coming up and I got to be ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah, or
just take more of his plate.
Like I said, again, I don't know if the players can necessarily come down. I
have
they could
no idea what the rule is.
Come down and stand on the field during the spring game. We obviously don't want them to get hurt, but if they're standing down the sideline, you go, okay, it's kind of interesting. We'll continue talking about that. Again, that is Saturday night, 7 o'clock, free admission. You'll be able to hear it also right here on 107.5 The Game. We'll come back, wrap up the program. It's Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Hey guys, Pearson Fowler here from the Extra Point, and coming up on the Wednesday edition of the Extra Point, plenty more Carolina football as we get closer and closer to the Garnet and Black spring game. We'll focus on the defensive side of the ball. Which defensive players are you most excited to see in person this spring? Plus, what did Shane Beamer say yesterday? And plenty of reaction and analysis to South Carolina's midweek game against North Florida. That and a whole lot more on the Extra Point.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Weather is going to be absolutely gorgeous on Saturday. That's going to give you a chance not just to enjoy the weekend, but also maybe get out and tailgate a little bit. Throw the football around with the kids before the spring game this weekend. Maybe you want to relive your past glory years and throw the football around with your old college buddies and pretend that you're 19 again and that you can score touchdowns on them and spike the ball in their face. But if you're suffering from joint pain, if you've had nagging pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, it's time to call QC Kinetics. That way you can get back out there and really show those whippersnappers a thing or two. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. You need to enjoy this time of year doing what you love. So call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation or a free second opinion. You can learn more about these amazing natural biologic treatments from QC Kinetics. 803-281-6860. They can restore and repair damaged joint tissue, getting to the root of the pain. Call QC Kinetics today, again, for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And it looks like it's still working. An earlier accident, Wessinger Road at Old Lexington Highway and Two Notch Road at Dalton Road. There is an accident there. Have a road hazard at Nursery Road near Weed Drive, so approach that area with some caution if you would. Weather-wise, looking pretty nice. Warm and breezy, 83 for the high today, 81 tomorrow. Might see some storms rolling in and then some clouds on Friday and a high of 78. It's breezy right now, 64 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Panera. There are so many words they could use to describe Panera's new Chef's Chicken sandwiches. But when you have a bite, you might just be left speechless. Panera, the familiar made fantastic. Enjoy a $1 delivery fee when you order on their app. Restrictions apply.
Spring is sprung and summer is just around the corner. Are the windows and doors in your home ready? Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country, giving you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Keep the summer heat out and the cool air in. Atlantic Window and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
When it matters, companies need more than just a delivery service. Cintas delivers full service and the reliability that comes with having a dedicated Cintas service rep who understands your business, which means they deliver confidence and peace of mind too. For uniforms, cleaning essentials, mats, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, discover the personal attention you get with Cintas.
Oh, I'm ready!
Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Folks, call me a people pleaser, but I can't help that the KFC 8-piece tenders meal gives the people what they want. It's got all the KFC classics, 4 buttery biscuits, 2 heaping sides, mac and cheese and crispy fries perhaps, and 8 scrumptious KFC tenders. Enough to please everybody, people. Feed the whole family with the KFC 8-piece tenders meal. Order ahead on the KFC app. It's finger-licking good. Prices and participation may vary. Online ordering available at participating locations.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
What do I love about Patriot Payroll Services? What don't I love about Patriot Payroll Services? It's easy to learn. It's very user-friendly. It's fast, even for a first-time user. It's perfect for our business. It's affordable, and it's been a great experience so far. We have no plans of changing.
Easy to learn, easy to use. Small business software tailored just for you.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a legit product. The key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text TIGER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenix samples are not available in stores, so text TIGER to 42424 right now. Text TIGER to 42424. That's TIGER to 42424.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter, Patrick Perez, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game.
107.5 The Game.
Tomorrow morning, Patrick and I will be out at Founders Park in Ray Tanner's suite. We will see if the refrigerator is locked.
It's always locked.
Yeah. Maybe slipping
Well, I mean, they are not stupid.
a phone call.
They can afford to spare a couple
Beverages of
What do you
choice
think's
at
in his
6 a.m.
fridge? We got
there's
enough room
beer.
for a 6-pack of
Yeah,
soda.
We've looked in there, but I mean, you can look in. I think
It's
it's
stocked
it's
for whoever wants
glass. Yeah, it's a glass window. We've looked in there. We're not ballparking what's in there. We know what's in there. That's why we're
Okay.
asking.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty anti-beer at 6 a.m. in the morning.
See, because I'm not though, because I'm also on the opposite schedule of you.
That's
No, but I mean, I just
so it's like a bedtime beer.
No,
for
I
me,
could,
yeah.
I could do like bourbon or
Guinness is a morning beer.
rum or or a mimosa at 6 a.m. Like, you look, we've all been there. Tailgate for a noon game, especially if it's a big noon game. I mean,
beer is way easier to put down in the morning than a bourbon.
I don't know, man.
You're just not a beer guy.
I'm
You're
not,
not
and
a
I
beer guy
drank
in
some. I was
general.
in a golf tournament on Monday, and I drank some Still Hands, and it was good. I drank, but it was kind of like the hazy IPA they had and the tropical IPA. I tried a lemonade blueberry that I can't say was my favorite, but I did drink some beer on Monday in a golf tournament I was at. But and I drank 3 of them, which I think will now satisfy me for the rest of the year. But
yeah.
I don't know. The college days, Patrick, and you've gone to a couple. You were out at Mississippi a couple years ago, and it was a Central Time game, an 11 a.m. kick. I've been in Nashville a couple times. Yeah, it's okay. Maybe we'll see if they've got the bourbon card out, because a Jim Beam and Sprite or ginger ale with a sausage biscuit, normally before a football game or a sporting event, is a very good way.
I mean,
to go.
one of the best parts of the golf tournaments is finishing up the show and then drinking a mimosa.
That is true. That is a good point.
I've never had a bad day that started with a mimosa. I don't think.
It's a good point. I
actually don't think in my life I've ever had a bad day.
Most of the time, because if you start drinking mimosas at 9 a.m., you don't remember the rest of the day. 803-404-6100 as we wrap up the program. South Carolina does win last night 4-2. They defeat Florida to move to 16-16 on the season. And again, we'll be out at Founders Park in Ray Tanner's suite tomorrow. He does know, by the way, that we're going to be there. We're not just
sneaking in.
I think he knew.
There will be a trail that leads to us if his fridge is missing something.
I can already see Eric Nichols down there like, hey, did you know that the Gunner and Perret are going to be in your suite tomorrow morning? No, I had no clue. Extra security.
Yeah, because they're listening.
Reminder, this afternoon, 6 o'clock, South Carolina and the city of Columbia will have a parade to honor Dawn Staley and the basketball team, your 2022 national champions. Right here on Main Street. You can go out and see our 107.5 The Game Hummer in it, apparently, Patrick. We just learned that.
That's what I've heard.
I
just read the schedule.
You do the early show here. Information sometimes not always free-flowing. But, again, 6 o'clock today, Main Street. Try and get you and the family out there. It'll be a good-looking parade. Jen, tomorrow, we talk with Kerry Tharp. Patrick, we talk other stuff.
Can't wait.
We're going to take a 21-hour break and come back and do it all again. Later.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL
with live local radio.
107.5 The Game.
Okay.
See you all tomorrow.
Why is it not clicking?
It'll be fun.